The Templar fleet vanished without a trace in 1307, and centuries of research and speculation have failed to uncover the truth. Was it a simple disappearance, or was there a deeper reason for its sudden and mysterious vanishing? This fleet, once part of one of the most powerful orders in history, was seemingly erased from existence in the blink of an eye. Could these ships have been hiding something much more significant than the wealth of the order? The truth may be buried in a hidden location, waiting to be unearthed, or perhaps it was a secret too dangerous to be revealed. The Templar fleet was one of history's greatest maritime mysteries, vanishing from the face of the earth in 1307 under circumstances that have baffled historians, treasure hunters, and conspiracy theorists alike for centuries. Its disappearance is often treated as a footnote to the much larger tale of the Templar Order's sudden and dramatic fall. Yet, there lies a haunting question, one that continues to haunt the world of historical research and intrigue. What happened to the fleet? Where did it go? Was it lost to time, or is there a darker truth behind its disappearance? The last known account of the fleet's movement places it off the coast of France in the early days of October 1307. The Templars, those enigmatic knights who had once commanded vast estates across Europe and amassed great wealth and influence, were suddenly being hunted by the very kings and popes who had once relied on them. It was an eerie and deliberate moment in history, an event that would forever alter the course of the order. On the night of October 13, 1307, under orders from King Philip IV of France, hundreds of Templars were arrested, tortured, and ultimately executed in a ruthless bid to seize their wealth. The fleet, along with the order's wealth and power, was swept into the darkness of history in an instant. Yet, there are whispers and tantalizing leads that suggest the Templar fleet may have vanished for a reason far more significant than the immediate fall of the order. The timing of the fleet's disappearance, coinciding with the arrest of the Templars, raises more questions than it answers. Why were these ships seemingly abandoned or hidden away? And why, decades later, would the Templars' legacy continue to cast a long shadow over the world? To this day, no one has found the final resting place of these ships. They've been searched for across every continent, every ocean, and every historical record, but the answers remain elusive. The fleet's vanishing is not merely a case of lost ships. It is the case of a profound mystery, filled with symbols, cryptic messages, and unknown purposes. The Templars themselves were not merely warriors or financial moguls. They were mystics, builders, and pilgrims, obsessed with knowledge and ancient relics. Their cryptic practices and enigmatic symbols have long led people to believe they were privy to secrets beyond ordinary comprehension. The fleet's disappearance may not have been a simple maritime disaster. Instead, there are theories suggesting that the ships were either deliberately hidden or led into some far-flung corner of the world, possibly carrying treasures, relics, or even knowledge that the Templars sought to protect from the prying eyes of their enemies. Some scholars argue that the Templars were not merely victims of political machinations, but actively involved in a secretive endeavor that transcended the politics of the time. These ships, they claim, could have been part of an ancient voyage, one that stretched far beyond the borders of medieval Europe. The idea that the Templars may have voyaged to lands across the Atlantic or to the far reaches of Africa raises the tantalizing possibility that the fleet's final mission was one of great purpose, a purpose that could explain the secrecy behind their disappearance. Were they, as some suggest, on a mission to uncover ancient knowledge lost to time? Did they intend to bury this knowledge so deeply that no one could ever find it? In this scenario, the ships were not merely vessels of war, but ships of secrets, carriers of some unknown truth that had to be safeguarded at all costs. The fact that the fleet disappeared in such a sudden and mysterious fashion leads one to wonder whether the Templars knew something about the future that others did not. Had they uncovered something so dangerous, so potent, that it could change the very fabric of history? If so, it would make perfect sense for them to have chosen to vanish from the historical record rather than allow such knowledge to fall into the hands of their enemies. This mystery has fascinated historians for centuries, but it is not simply a case of lost ships or treasure. The question of what happened to the fleet speaks to something far deeper, a curiosity about what the Templars were truly after. Were they simply a religious military order, or were they part of a larger, more complex global movement, one that stretched beyond Europe and into unknown lands. It is this question that compels us to look beyond the traditional narratives about the fall of the Templars. Instead of viewing their fall as a simple betrayal by King Philip, we must ask ourselves whether the Templars had a larger, more profound purpose that had to be hidden, even at the cost of their own lives. As the centuries have passed, more and more theories have emerged, each offering a tantalizing glimpse into the unknown. Some suggest the fleet journeyed westward to the New World, perhaps even reaching the Americas long before Columbus set sail. Others point to Africa, where ancient knowledge might have been sought. Still, others speculate that the fleet sailed into the frozen waters of the north, hiding in remote regions where it could never be found. These theories, while speculative, suggest that the Templars were far more than just a medieval military order. They were explorers, seekers, and guardians of knowledge that extended beyond the grasp of their contemporaries. One of the most intriguing aspects of the fleet's disappearance is the role of the Templars' own symbolism and hidden messages. The Templars were known for their cryptic symbols, secret codes, and the use of allegories to convey hidden truths. Some suggest that the fleet's disappearance was encoded in the very symbols that the Templars used to mark their territory and their ships. Could these symbols hold the key to understanding what the fleet was really doing? Did the Templars leave behind clues to guide those who were worthy of discovering the truth? The answer to these questions may lie in the fact that the Templars were deeply involved in esoteric knowledge, secret societies, and ancient traditions that reached back to the dawn of civilization. The mystery of the fleet's disappearance cannot be understood simply as the loss of ships in a storm or through mutiny. It must be seen as part of a larger narrative, one that involved power, faith, and the safeguarding of knowledge so powerful that it could alter the course of history. The emotional weight of this mystery is immense. The Templars, who had once been revered as holy warriors, were now being hunted down like criminals, their vast network of power and influence unraveled by those who saw them as a threat. But in their final moments, did the Templars hide something far more valuable than their wealth? Did they protect something so profound that they were willing to pay the ultimate price to ensure it remained hidden? The emotional complexity of the fleet's disappearance is what makes this mystery so compelling. It's not just about lost treasure or ships. It's about the legacy of the Templars and the enduring question of what they sought and why they sought it. It's about the human desire to protect something sacred, to preserve knowledge that could change the course of the future. It's about a secret so powerful that those who sought to uncover it had to face dangers beyond their understanding. As we delve deeper into the story of the Templar fleet, we begin to see that its disappearance is not simply a historical event. It is a symbol of something much greater. It represents the struggle to protect what is sacred, to safeguard the secrets that could shape the future of humanity. The mystery of the fleet is one that transcends time, drawing us into a world of secrecy, betrayal, and hidden knowledge. It's a mystery that will continue to captivate the imagination of those who seek to uncover the truth, long after the last ship has sailed into the unknown. This is just the beginning of the journey into the mystery of the Templar fleet, a journey that may never have a definitive answer, but one that will forever leave us questioning what we know about history, power, and the secrets that lie hidden in the shadows of time. The rise of the Knights Templar is a tale as grand and enigmatic as the very order itself. In the early 12th century, the world was a place of chaos, with a Christian Europe torn by war and religious strife. It was against this backdrop of shifting alliances, religious fervor, and brutal conquest that the Knights Templar first emerged. What began as a humble group of knights dedicated to the protection of Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land would evolve into one of the most powerful and secretive organizations the world has ever known. Their rise, fueled by a combination of religious zeal, military prowess, and an unparalleled ability to amass wealth, would set the stage for their dramatic fall centuries later. Yet, it is their sudden and mysterious disappearance that has continued to captivate the imaginations of those seeking answers. The origins of the Templars are tied directly to the First Crusade, which began in 1096. The Crusades were a series of religious wars waged by Christian Europe against the Muslim powers of the Middle East, aimed at recapturing the Holy Land of Jerusalem. As the Crusaders flooded into the Levant, a new need arose: a safe passage for Christian pilgrims who sought to visit the sacred sites in Jerusalem. Enter the Order of the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, later known simply as the Templars. Founded in 1119 by a group of knights led by Hugues de Payens, the order was created with a singular purpose: to protect the pilgrims who traveled to the Holy Land. But their mission would quickly evolve, turning them into warriors of immense power and influence. At the heart of their rise was a combination of religious devotion and military expertise. The Templars took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, pledging themselves wholly to the service of Christ. Their uniform, a white cloak emblazoned with a red cross, became an instantly recognizable symbol of their sacred mission. Yet, while the Templars were sworn to lives of austerity and self-denial, they quickly became one of the most formidable military forces in Christendom. This paradox, their vows of poverty and their vast wealth, has been a source of intrigue for historians ever since. How could monks, sworn to lives of poverty, become so powerful, with vast estates, a private army, and a network that spanned the globe? The answer lies in their organizational structure and their ability to exploit the growing power of the Church. As the Templars fought in the Crusades, they gained the favor of the Catholic Church, which recognized the order as an official entity. This ecclesiastical endorsement allowed the Templars to operate with a level of autonomy that few other military orders enjoyed. They were granted the ability to collect taxes, receive donations, and own land, resources that gave them the financial means to expand their influence. But it wasn't just their military prowess that made them formidable. The Templars also became deeply involved in banking, using their vast network to facilitate loans, protect wealth, and manage financial transactions. Over time, they became Europe's first international banking system, trusted with the wealth of kings and nobles. It was a business model that not only secured their financial independence but also tied their fate to the power of the European monarchies. By the early 13th century, the Templars had grown to become a vast multinational organization. They had strongholds across Europe and the Holy Land, with castles, estates, and fortifications that spanned the Mediterranean, France, Spain, England, and beyond. Their influence reached from the shores of the Levant to the heart of Europe, and they had become one of the wealthiest and most powerful organizations in the world. The Templars were not just warriors, they were leaders, financiers, and diplomats. They moved effortlessly between the religious, military, and political spheres, navigating a web of alliances that stretched across kingdoms, empires, and the Church itself. But with power came enemies, and the Templars' rapid rise did not go unnoticed. Their wealth and influence, coupled with their secretive nature, made them a target for those who feared their growing power. The very things that made the Templars so indispensable to Christendom, their military prowess, their wealth, and their role as protectors of sacred sites, were also the things that made them dangerous to others. By the late 13th century, the Templars' vast wealth and their independence from secular authorities had made them increasingly vulnerable. Their growing autonomy and influence, particularly in France, had begun to attract the suspicion of King Philip IV, who saw them as a threat to his own authority. King Philip's desire to weaken the Templars came to a head in the early 14th century, as his financial troubles deepened. In need of funds to finance his wars, Philip turned to the Templars, who were one of the richest institutions in Europe. When the Templars refused to lend him money, Philip saw an opportunity to seize their wealth. In 1307, on the orders of King Philip, the Templars were arrested in a coordinated operation across France. The knights were accused of heresy, blasphemy, and a host of other crimes, many of which were fabricated or exaggerated. The charges, however, were merely a pretext to disband the order and seize its vast wealth. The arrest of the Templars was swift and brutal. Members of the order were taken from their homes, imprisoned, and tortured in an effort to extract confessions. In the end, many were executed, and the order was officially disbanded. King Philip's forces seized Templar properties, gold, and land, and the once mighty order was reduced to nothing more than a shadow of its former self. The vast network of castles, estates, and financial holdings that the Templars had built over the course of 2 centuries was scattered and divided. Yet, despite the brutal crackdown, the Templars' legacy did not disappear entirely. The order may have been destroyed, but the secrets it held, the wealth it accumulated, and the power it wielded continued to reverberate through history. The emotional toll of the Templars' fall was immense. These men, who had dedicated their lives to a higher calling, found themselves betrayed by the very church they had served and the kings they had supported. The knights who had once stood side by side in the Crusades, battling for a holy cause, now found themselves isolated, hunted, and broken. The very identity they had built, of noble warriors dedicated to Christ, was torn away in an instant. What remained was a shattered order, its secrets lost to history, its members scattered and silenced. The emotional pain of their destruction was not just personal, it was cultural, religious, and historical. But even in the wake of their destruction, the Templars' legacy endured. For centuries after the Order's disbandment, rumors and legends of the Templars' treasure, their secret knowledge, and their hidden purpose would circulate throughout Europe. The image of the Templars as guardians of ancient secrets, protectors of holy relics, and keepers of sacred knowledge continued to fuel speculation and myth. Did they truly hide treasure? Was there a deeper mystery at play, one that transcended their military and financial roles? The Templars' sudden fall has captivated the imaginations of historians, conspiracy theorists, and treasure hunters for centuries. But what made their story so compelling wasn't just their rise to power. It was their dramatic fall and the mysteries surrounding their end. The secrets they left behind, whether real or imagined, continue to spark curiosity and intrigue to this day. The story of the Templars is not just one of military conquest and religious zeal. It is a story of ambition, betrayal, and loss of a powerful order that rose to dominate Europe and the Holy Land, only to be torn down by those who feared its power. It is a story that invites us to wonder, what was the true purpose of the Templars, and what legacy did they leave behind? As we delve deeper into their history, the answers may be more elusive than we think. The true purpose of the Templars has been shrouded in mystery for centuries, and perhaps this is what continues to fuel the fascination and intrigue surrounding the order. Were the Templars merely the religious military knights that history has painted them to be, or was there a deeper, more enigmatic purpose that they concealed beneath their vows of poverty and their disciplined ways? To understand the Templars' hidden purpose is to look beyond the traditional narrative of holy warriors defending the faith. There is something more complex, something more extraordinary, lying beneath the surface of their public identity. From the very beginning of the Templar order, their vows set them apart from other monastic orders. They took 3 vows: poverty, chastity, and obedience. These vows were supposed to be the foundation of a life dedicated to God. Yet in practice, the Templars lived in stark contrast to their vows. Their wealth was beyond imagination, their network vast and powerful, and their military prowess unparalleled. In essence, they were monks living a life of war and intrigue. This contradiction alone begs the question: why were they so different from the other monastic orders? What was it about their mission that required such a unique approach to religious life? This question takes us deeper into their mysterious origins. In the early 12th century, when the Templar order was first founded, the Holy Land was a battleground between Muslim and Christian forces. Jerusalem had fallen to the Crusaders in 1099, and the need for protection of Christian pilgrims became paramount. The Templars, under the leadership of Hugues de Payens, were charged with the sacred duty of defending these pilgrims, but their mission quickly expanded beyond mere protection. As the Templars took up arms, they not only became soldiers but also began to hold and manage lands. Their influence grew rapidly in the Christian world, and they became powerful financiers, dealing in large sums of money, lands, and assets. This allowed them to fund further military expeditions and even gain political influence, which, in turn, brought them into conflict with those who had once supported them. As the Templars expanded across Europe and the Holy Land, they were not simply warriors who fought battles. They became stewards of something more profound. Their connections to ancient traditions, hidden knowledge, and sacred relics grew stronger with time. It was not just about military conquest or economic power. It was about something far older and more mystical that many historians and scholars believe they were guarding. Some suggest that the Templars were entrusted with the protection of holy relics, such as the True Cross or the Holy Grail, while others argue that their true mission was linked to the pursuit of esoteric knowledge, an ancient wisdom, perhaps dating back to the time of the pharaohs or even before, that had been passed down through secret societies and hidden orders. The Templars' obsession with knowledge and secrecy was evident in their symbolism, rituals, and organizational structure. The order's secrecy has long been a subject of debate. Some believe that their elaborate system of initiation, with its cryptic rituals, was designed to protect sacred truths, perhaps the secret of an ancient and powerful knowledge that could alter the course of history. The Templar initiation was said to be rigorous, involving oaths, symbols, and secret handshakes, all aimed at binding the members together in loyalty to the order and its mysterious purpose. But what was this purpose? What knowledge or secret did they seek to protect? The most famous and enduring theory is that the Templars were involved with the Holy Grail, a symbol of divine knowledge, immortality, and power. While much of the Grail's story has become mythologized, its association with the Templars has persisted throughout history. According to legend, the Grail is the cup used by Christ at the Last Supper and was said to possess miraculous powers. The Grail's elusive nature and its promise of divine favor may have been exactly the kind of thing that would attract the Templars. If the Order had access to the Grail or understood its true significance, it could explain the power they wielded and the secretive nature of their actions. The idea that the Templars were hiding or protecting the Holy Grail for centuries has persisted in both historical texts and popular culture, and it remains one of the most tantalizing aspects of their mysterious mission. However, not all theories about the Templars' purpose revolve around the Grail. Some scholars believe that the Templars were guardians of ancient knowledge, not tied to a specific relic, but rather to a form of wisdom passed down from earlier civilizations. This wisdom could have included knowledge of astronomy, alchemy, or even forgotten religions. The Templars were known to have had contact with the Islamic world, where ancient Greek and Roman texts were preserved and studied. In this context, the Templars might have been interested in preserving and protecting knowledge that had been lost to the Western world after the fall of the Roman Empire. The idea that the Templars were engaged in the recovery or protection of such knowledge is a compelling one, especially when one considers the cultural exchange that took place during the Crusades between the Latin West and the Islamic East. One of the most intriguing elements of this theory is the idea that the Templars had access to sacred texts or artifacts that were considered too dangerous or too powerful for the general public. These could have been texts that contained knowledge of advanced mathematics, ancient rituals, or even the secrets of the universe itself. If the Templars were indeed guardians of such knowledge, their secretive nature would have been a logical strategy to protect it. The organization was vast, with members in key positions across Europe and the Holy Land, ensuring that whatever secrets they protected would remain safe from prying eyes. Their secrecy also played a critical role in their ability to amass such wealth and influence, for they were able to operate without interference, answering only to the Pope and their own higher-ups. The Templars' wealth, too, has often been tied to their hidden purpose. On the surface, they were a monastic order bound by vows of poverty, yet they controlled vast lands, castles, and resources. Some historians believe that the Templars used their financial empire not only to fund their military campaigns, but also to support their quest for hidden knowledge. They might have funded expeditions to search for sacred relics, to investigate ancient sites, or to recover long-lost manuscripts. The Templars' financial independence was key to their ability to operate outside the control of secular authorities, and their wealth likely enabled them to keep their secrets hidden from the Church, the kings, and the rulers of Europe. Furthermore, the Templars' involvement in the construction of some of the most impressive architectural feats of the medieval world raises another intriguing possibility. Some scholars argue that the Templars were not just soldiers and bankers, they were also architects of a hidden legacy. Their design of castles, fortifications, and churches is often seen as part of a larger plan, one that included symbolic architecture meant to convey hidden messages. These structures, with their mysterious symbols, hidden chambers, and elaborate designs, may have been created to conceal or protect the knowledge and relics that the Templars guarded. The very buildings they constructed could have been part of a larger, secret network designed to preserve and transmit their hidden purpose. The Templars' secrecy, their wealth, their connections to ancient knowledge, and their cryptic rituals all point to something greater than a simple military order. These elements suggest that the Templars were not just fighting for control of land or power, but for something much more profound: a sacred truth, an ancient wisdom, or a divine artifact that could change the course of human history. What they sought may never be fully understood, but it is clear that their purpose was not merely religious, military, or financial. It was something far deeper and more mysterious, something that they guarded with their lives and their very souls. In the end, the true purpose of the Templars remains a mystery, locked away in the hidden corners of history. Perhaps their secret was too dangerous to reveal, or perhaps it was too valuable to be understood by the common people. What we do know is that the Templars were far more than what they appeared to be. They were not just soldiers of Christ. They were seekers, protectors, and guardians of something greater than themselves. And in their search for this hidden purpose, they left behind a legacy that continues to captivate, bewilder, and inspire those who seek to uncover the truth. Their story is one of power, secrecy, and sacrifice, an enduring mystery that, even today, remains far from solved. The fall of the Templars remains one of the most dramatic and fateful events in the history of the medieval world. In October 1307, the mighty order of the Knights Templar was brought to its knees in a coordinated and sudden assault, not just by the French crown but by the very institution that had once granted them their power, the Catholic Church. The timing of the Templars' downfall was both tragic and deliberate, a moment of betrayal that echoed through history and altered the course of the order forever. What had once been a powerful, independent, and seemingly invincible force was dismantled within a matter of days, and the men who had sworn their lives to the Templar cause were scattered, imprisoned, tortured, and executed in what can only be described as a massacre of historical proportions. The roots of the Templars' fall, while deep, can be traced to a mixture of personal greed, political rivalry, and religious maneuvering. At the heart of it all was King Philip IV of France, whose own ambitions played a significant role in orchestrating the downfall of the Templar order. King Philip, also known as Philip the Fair, had long been engaged in a bitter struggle with Pope Boniface VIII over the control and authority of the French crown within the Church. Philip had already found himself at odds with the papacy over a variety of issues, from taxation to the right to control church lands, but his conflict with the Templars reached new heights when the king became deeply indebted to the order. By the early 1300s, King Philip was struggling with an empty royal treasury. France was embroiled in wars, and Philip's financial policies had left the kingdom in dire straits. The Templars, with their vast wealth and extensive network, had become a key player in the financial landscape of medieval Europe. They were one of the few institutions that could lend large sums of money to monarchs, and Philip had borrowed heavily from them. As his debts mounted, Philip realized that he had no means to repay the Templars. He saw the wealth and property of the order as a potential solution to his financial woes. But simply asking for a loan from the Templars was no longer a viable option. Instead, Philip chose a far more drastic measure. He decided to eliminate the order entirely and seize its assets. To achieve this, Philip needed a pretext, a way to justify the destruction of one of the most powerful and respected organizations in Europe. And so, in an act of political calculation, Philip accused the Templars of heresy, blasphemy, idolatry, and a host of other criminal acts. These charges, while fantastical and exaggerated, were enough to discredit the Templars and give Philip the justification he needed to act. The accusations were wide-ranging. The Templars were said to engage in secret rituals, to worship strange idols, to deny Christ, and even to commit heinous sexual acts. These claims were not only false but deliberately designed to smear the order's reputation and provide a public justification for their dissolution. With the charges in place, Philip moved swiftly. On the night of October 13, 1307, under the cover of darkness, he ordered the mass arrest of the Templar Knights throughout France. Hundreds of Templars were taken from their homes, bound and imprisoned without trial. The arrest was not only swift but brutal. The Templars, many of whom were loyal to their order and the Church, were subjected to unimaginable torture in an effort to extract confessions. The torture methods were as horrific as they were effective. Those who resisted the accusations were subjected to psychological and physical torment, with the hope that they would eventually break and reveal the truth about the Templars' supposed crimes. As the arrests unfolded across France, Pope Clement V, who had been weak and indecisive in the face of Philip's political maneuvering, was forced to sanction the move. Though the Pope had once supported the Templars and relied on them for military and financial support, his authority was no match for Philip's power. In the face of mounting pressure from the French king, Clement reluctantly issued a papal bull, a decree that officially disbanded the Templar order. The Pope's capitulation to Philip was a blow to the authority of the Church itself. It marked a turning point in the relationship between the papacy and European monarchs, revealing just how much power kings like Philip had gained over the Church in the centuries since the rise of the Templars. The Templars were now enemies of the state, condemned not only by the French king but by the very Church they had once served. Many of the order's wealthiest and most powerful members were imprisoned and tortured, their holdings seized by Philip's agents. The public trial of the Templars began, and the knights, many of whom were high-ranking and well-known figures in Europe, were forced to face the charges levied against them. In an attempt to avoid further scandal, many confessed under duress, whether or not they had actually committed the crimes they were accused of. These confessions, though coerced, were used as proof of the Templars' guilt. The knights who confessed to the charges were burned at the stake, while others, who maintained their innocence, faced a similar fate. Despite the swift and brutal actions against them, the Templars were not entirely powerless in their final days. Some members of the order were able to flee France, and their survival would later contribute to the enduring mystery surrounding the Templars. These knights dispersed across Europe, seeking refuge in countries like Scotland, Portugal, and Spain, where the Templar legacy would live on in secret. Over time, these remnants of the Templar order would be absorbed into other military or religious organizations, but their true purpose, their wealth, and their knowledge remained shrouded in mystery. In the years that followed, the Pope's decision to disband the order would haunt the Church. Clement V's role in the destruction of the Templars was criticized by many, particularly when it became clear that his actions had been motivated more by political pressure than by any genuine concern for the Church's moral integrity. In fact, there was never any substantial evidence to support the charges of heresy against the Templars. In the aftermath of their fall, many began to wonder whether the accusations had been nothing more than a convenient excuse to seize the order's vast wealth and influence. Philip had secured the treasure he had sought, but the legacy of the Templars would prove far harder to eradicate. The dramatic fall of the Templars, with its mix of political betrayal, religious upheaval, and the sudden dismantling of one of the most powerful organizations in Christendom, sent shockwaves throughout Europe. The dissolution of the order left a void that could not easily be filled. The loss of their wealth and knowledge, the disbandment of their military forces, and the suppression of their secrets left behind a culture of speculation and myth. Some believed the Templars had hidden treasure beyond measure. Others argued that they had protected ancient knowledge, while still others suggested that their true purpose was far darker and more esoteric than anyone could imagine. The fall of the Templars marked the end of an era. The medieval world, which had known the Templars as a powerful and almost untouchable force, would never be the same. The order's disappearance sparked rumors, legends, and conspiracy theories that persist to this day. While some historians focus on the political and economic causes of their downfall, others speculate that the Templars were guardians of something far more valuable and dangerous, an ancient secret that the world was not ready to understand. In the end, the fall of the Templars was not just the story of a powerful military order being dismantled by a greedy king. It was the tale of a much larger battle between faith, power, and knowledge. The Templars were destroyed not only because they were a threat to the secular power of King Philip, but also because they represented a mystery that had the potential to challenge the very foundations of the world as it was known. Their fall, then, can be seen as the closing of a chapter in history, but the echo of their story, the unanswered questions, the lost treasure, and the cryptic symbols they left behind, would continue to haunt Europe for centuries to come. The Templars may have been destroyed, but their legend, shrouded in myth and secrecy, endures to this day. The legends surrounding the Templars are some of the most persistent in history. After the order was disbanded, rumors began to swirl about the vast fortune they had amassed, the secrets they had guarded, and the ancient knowledge they had potentially uncovered. The Templars' disappearance into the shadows gave birth to theories that ranged from the plausible to the fantastical. For centuries, these mysteries have sparked the imaginations of treasure hunters, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. What if the Templars hadn't been entirely destroyed? What if they had hidden their wealth in secret locations, or perhaps even uncovered something so powerful, so transformative, that they chose to disappear rather than risk its discovery by those who might misuse it? The idea that the Templars had hidden treasure is perhaps the most enduring and tantalizing theory. According to various accounts, the Order's vast wealth was hidden in the chaos of their final days, just before their downfall. These riches were not merely gold and jewels, but could have included sacred relics, ancient manuscripts, or even the mythical Holy Grail. The notion that the Templars had somehow uncovered the Grail during their time in the Holy Land has been part of their mythos for centuries. The Grail, a symbol of divine power, immortality, and secret knowledge, was an object of immense allure, and the Templars' connection to it has never been fully explained. It's said that the Grail was more than just a physical object. It represented a form of hidden knowledge, perhaps even the key to understanding life and death itself. If the Templars had discovered it, it would explain the extreme secrecy surrounding their order and their intense desire to protect their knowledge at all costs. But where could such a treasure have been hidden? Many historians believe that the Templars' treasure was scattered across Europe, buried in secret locations that only a few members of the order knew about. In the years following the disbandment, rumors spread about hidden caches of Templar wealth, with treasure hunters combing the countryside, hoping to uncover the elusive fortune. One of the most famous of these theories involves the Oak Island Mystery, a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada. According to some, the Templars sailed across the Atlantic and buried their treasure on the island, where it remains hidden to this day. The island, now the site of an ongoing treasure hunt, has become a symbol of the Templars' enduring legacy, and the mystery of what might be hidden there continues to capture the imagination of adventurers and historians alike. Yet, the treasure theories aren't limited to physical riches. The idea that the Templars were custodians of ancient knowledge is perhaps even more captivating. As the Templars expanded their influence across Europe, they were said to have come into contact with various ancient cultures, including those of the Islamic world. During the Crusades, the Templars were exposed to a wealth of knowledge from the East, knowledge that had been passed down through centuries and was far more advanced than what was available in Western Europe at the time. Could it be that the Templars had uncovered lost texts, scientific principles, or philosophical teachings that had been hidden away for centuries? If so, they would have had the power to reshape the world's understanding of science, religion, and history. The Templars' interest in these teachings was not purely academic. It was said that they believed in esoteric wisdom, knowledge that was hidden from the masses and only accessible to a select few. The idea that they had uncovered this knowledge and sought to protect it is a powerful one, especially considering the rapid growth of their influence in both the religious and political realms. This concept of the Templars as guardians of ancient knowledge is further complicated by the secrecy of their rituals and symbols. The Templars were known for their cryptic rituals, secretive handshakes, and mysterious symbols that some believe were meant to convey hidden truths. The famous Templar cross, for instance, has been interpreted by some as a symbol of a much older tradition, one that stretches back to ancient Egypt or even earlier. The Templars' use of such symbols might have been more than just a religious gesture. Some believe that these symbols were a form of encoded knowledge, a way for the order to communicate its hidden purpose. If this theory holds true, then the Templars were not merely a group of knights defending pilgrims. They were intellectuals, mystics, and keepers of knowledge that transcended the boundaries of time and religion. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Templar mystery lies in the possibility that they had access to texts and artifacts that had been lost to history. The Templars were said to have been custodians of many sacred relics, some of which were believed to possess extraordinary powers. In addition to the Holy Grail, other relics that have been associated with the Templars include the True Cross, the Shroud of Turin, and the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark, in particular, is a subject of great fascination, as it is said to contain the tablets of the Ten Commandments and has been imbued with supernatural significance in various religious traditions. Could it be that the Templars had found the Ark and kept it hidden, away from the reach of the Church or other powerful institutions? The mystery surrounding these relics is a central theme in many of the theories surrounding the Templars' hidden purpose. There are also theories that suggest the Templars' knowledge was not merely religious or historical but scientific in nature. The order was known to be skilled in architecture and engineering, and many of their castles and fortifications exhibit an advanced understanding of geometry and design. Some suggest that the Templars were in possession of secret knowledge of mathematics or astronomy that was ahead of its time. This could have been part of the ancient wisdom they sought to protect. The idea that the Templars were aware of scientific principles that were rediscovered only centuries later raises fascinating questions about the depth of their knowledge and the potential impact of that knowledge on the development of Western thought. In the centuries following the disbandment of the order, the idea that the Templars had hidden their treasure or knowledge has been reinforced by a series of strange occurrences and unsolved mysteries. For example, in Portugal, the Templar order was re-established under the name of the Order of Christ, and it is said that the treasure of the original Templars was hidden there, only to be lost to history. Similarly, in Scotland, the Knights Templar were believed to have had close ties with the Scottish kings, and some believe that they played a role in the construction of Rosslyn Chapel, a site that is rich with Templar symbolism and associated with hidden knowledge. The chapel's cryptic carvings and mysterious design have sparked endless speculation about what the Templars may have left behind in the wake of their fall. Perhaps the most compelling evidence for the Templars' hidden knowledge comes in the form of their surviving legacy. Despite their downfall, the influence of the Templars persisted in various forms. The Freemasons, a secret society that has long been linked to the Templars, adopted many of their symbols and rituals. The Templar legacy is evident in the Freemason lodges, with their use of ancient symbols, initiation rites, and secret handshakes. The Freemasons themselves have been the subject of countless conspiracy theories, many of which claim that they are the inheritors of the Templar tradition, guarding the secrets of the past and carrying on the work of the medieval knights. While there is little concrete evidence to link the Freemasons directly to the Templars, the parallels between the two organizations are striking and continue to fuel speculation about the Templars' true purpose. In the end, the mystery of the Templars' treasure and their hidden knowledge is as elusive as the order itself. The treasure that has been the subject of so many legends may never be found, but the idea that the Templars were more than just soldiers of Christ, that they were, in fact, custodians of ancient knowledge, remains a powerful and intriguing theory. Whether they hid their wealth or safeguarded profound secrets, the Templars left behind a legacy that continues to captivate and mystify. Their story is one of ambition, mystery, and lost potential, a story that invites us to wonder what might have been hidden from us, and whether the secrets they guarded still have the power to change the course of history. As the centuries passed after the fall of the Templar Order, their story evolved from a historical reality into a rich tapestry of myth, legend, and conspiracy. What remained after the Templars were disbanded were the fragmented pieces of their history, shrouded in secrecy, surrounded by unanswered questions, and steeped in the mystery of their untold purpose. From their supposed treasure to the cryptic symbols and rituals they left behind, the Templars became more than just a medieval military order. They transformed into a symbol of intrigue and speculation. Their story, particularly after their fall in the early 14th century, became a powerful force in the world of legend and conspiracy, and in many ways, it continues to captivate the imaginations of people today. At the heart of these enduring myths is the question of what the Templars truly knew and what they were protecting. What was so important that the most powerful monarch in Europe, King Philip IV of France, would go to such lengths to eradicate them? Was it simply a matter of greed and political power, or was there something more at play? Perhaps the Templars were guarding something far more dangerous or far more valuable than any treasure. Over time, rumors and theories grew about the true nature of the Templars' mission. Claims that the Knights had discovered forbidden knowledge, ancient wisdom, or artifacts that could change the course of history. Perhaps the most persistent and tantalizing of these theories is the idea that the Templars were not simply protecting wealth but were involved in the guarding of the Holy Grail. This myth began to take root during the late medieval period, as stories of the Grail spread throughout Europe. The Grail, as it was envisioned in Christian tradition, was the cup used by Christ at the Last Supper, said to have miraculous powers. Some legends even suggest that the Grail was a source of eternal life, or that it contained divine knowledge that could unlock the secrets of the universe. If the Templars had, in fact, discovered or were in possession of the Grail, it would explain their fierce secrecy and the immense resources they devoted to protecting it. It could also explain why the Templars attracted the suspicion of the Church and the monarchies, as such an object, if real, could radically alter the balance of power in the world. This theory gained further traction with the publication of works such as The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail by Michael Bygent, Richard Lee, and Henry Lincoln, which suggested that the Grail was not just a cup but a bloodline, descendants of Jesus Christ, whose lineage was protected by the Templars. This idea further fueled the belief that the Templars were not merely a religious military order but also guardians of a secret that could rewrite the history of Christianity itself. The notion that the Templars were involved in such a monumental secret was both shocking and alluring. The idea that their purpose was tied to the preservation of sacred bloodlines or divine knowledge has captured the imaginations of millions and has become deeply embedded in popular culture. It is a theory that, whether true or not, continues to haunt the historical narrative of the Templars. However, the idea of the Grail and its connection to the Templars is just one thread in the much larger web of mysteries surrounding the order. There are other theories, equally captivating, that delve into the world of ancient knowledge and esoteric wisdom. The Templars, after all, were known for their advanced understanding of architecture, geometry, and engineering. Their skill in building massive stone castles and fortifications across Europe and the Middle East is well documented. Many of these structures, such as the famous Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, contain intricate carvings and symbols that some believe are not simply ornamental but part of a deeper, hidden code, one that contains the secrets of the ancient world. These symbols, many of which are believed to be tied to esoteric traditions, suggest that the Templars were more than just warriors. They were keepers of knowledge, drawn from sources far older than Christianity. The connection between the Templars and ancient knowledge has long been speculated, particularly with regard to their interactions with the Islamic world during the Crusades. When the Templars fought in the Holy Land, they were exposed to the wealth of knowledge preserved by Muslim scholars, who had safeguarded ancient texts from Greek and Roman philosophers. Some suggest that the Templars, in their travels and military campaigns, encountered this knowledge and brought it back to Europe. Could the Templars have been privy to the secrets of the ancient world? Were they guardians of a lost intellectual tradition that had been suppressed for centuries? These questions, though difficult to answer definitively, open up a compelling avenue of speculation. If the Templars had access to such knowledge, it could explain their rise to power, their influence over European monarchs, and their ability to create an international network that stretched across Europe, the Middle East, and beyond. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Templars' legacy is their involvement in the world of secret societies. Many modern-day organizations, most notably the Freemasons, are said to be the spiritual descendants of the Templars. The Freemasons, who emerged in Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries, adopted many of the symbols, rituals, and practices of the Templars, leading some to speculate that the Freemasons were in fact the true inheritors of the Templar tradition. The link between the two organizations is a subject of intense debate, but it is undeniable that there are striking similarities between the Templar and Masonic symbolism. The square and compass, the Masonic all-seeing eye, and other symbols associated with the Freemasons have all been linked to the Templars, suggesting that the two organizations shared a common heritage. The idea that the Freemasons are in possession of Templar knowledge, or that they are guardians of Templar secrets, has fueled countless conspiracy theories and has been a central theme in many books, documentaries, and films. Another enduring mystery is the fate of the Templars after their fall. While many of the Order's knights were executed or imprisoned, some are believed to have escaped. Over the years, a number of accounts have surfaced claiming that surviving Templars fled to distant corners of Europe or even to the Americas, where they continued their work in secret. The legend of the Templars' flight has been bolstered by stories of their hidden treasure and the idea that the Order lived on in the shadows, continuing to guard their ancient secrets. Some theories suggest that the Templars' knowledge and treasure were hidden in far-off lands, such as Scotland or the New World, where they could continue their work undisturbed. The idea that the Templars survived the Purge and fled to the New World is especially compelling given the historical connections between the Templars and the early explorers of the Americas. Could it be that the Templars played a role in the discovery and settlement of the Americas? Could they have hidden their treasure in the New World, where it remains to this day, waiting to be found? The mysteries surrounding the Templars are not limited to their hidden treasure or ancient knowledge. The very symbols and rituals that the order left behind continue to intrigue and mystify. One of the most iconic symbols associated with the Templars is the Red Cross, worn by the knights on their cloaks. This symbol has been interpreted in various ways over the centuries. Some believe it represents the Templars' devotion to Christ, while others see it as a symbol of a much older tradition, perhaps connected to ancient Egyptian or Babylonian rites. The Templars' use of such symbols, along with their secretive rituals and initiation ceremonies, suggests that they were part of a much larger, more complex tradition, one that transcended the boundaries of Christianity and reached into the depths of human history. As the centuries have passed, the Templars' legacy has become a touchstone for countless myths, legends, and conspiracy theories. Their story is not just a tale of a medieval military order that rose to power and fell from grace. It is a story of hidden knowledge, ancient secrets, and the eternal quest for truth. The Templars' influence can still be felt today, as their symbols continue to appear in popular culture. Their mysteries continue to inspire conspiracy theories, and their legacy remains as elusive as ever. What the Templars truly knew, and what they were protecting, remains one of history's greatest enigmas. Their story, far from being relegated to the past, continues to be written, one mystery at a time. As we delve further into the legacy of the Templars, it becomes apparent that their story is not simply a tale of medieval knights, riches, or religious wars. It is the story of a deep and enduring mystery, one that has fascinated generations of historians, treasure hunters, and conspiracy theorists alike. But beyond the speculation, the treasure hunts, and the cryptic symbols, there lies something more profound. The question of whether the Templars were, in fact, the inheritors of an ancient, secret tradition that transcended the boundaries of their time. Could the order have been privy to knowledge far older than Christianity itself? Knowledge that had been preserved and passed down through secretive channels for millennia? One of the most enduring and thought-provoking theories about the Templars is that they were not just warriors of Christ, but rather protectors and custodians of a much older, esoteric knowledge that could potentially change the way we view history, religion, and even the nature of existence itself. The idea that the Templars were involved in the preservation of ancient wisdom, hidden from the general populace, is a theory that has persisted for centuries, fueled by the order's own mysterious practices and the secrecy that surrounded their rituals. During their time in the Holy Land, the Templars were exposed to a wealth of knowledge that was largely unknown in Europe. The Crusades brought the Knights into contact with the advanced cultures of the Islamic world, where many ancient texts from the Greeks, Romans, and even the Egyptians had been preserved and studied. Scholars in the Islamic world had access to knowledge that had been lost to Europe during the Dark Ages, and it is believed that the Templars may have had access to these teachings. What if the Templars, in their time spent in the Holy Land, not only fought battles but also uncovered, studied, and sought to protect ancient texts that contain knowledge far beyond the understanding of their contemporaries? One theory posits that the Templars were involved in the preservation of ancient manuscripts that contained wisdom about astronomy, mathematics, philosophy, and even lost religious teachings. These texts, perhaps dating back to the time of the ancient Egyptians or even earlier, could have offered insights into the mysteries of the universe, knowledge that was believed to have been hidden or suppressed. If the Templars had indeed discovered these texts, their need for secrecy becomes much clearer. The very nature of this knowledge, sacred, powerful, and perhaps dangerous, would have demanded protection. But why would the Templars choose to conceal such knowledge, even from the church that had once supported them? This question brings us to the heart of the Templar mystery. Were the Templars engaged in the preservation of forbidden knowledge? The very idea that such knowledge could be suppressed raises uncomfortable questions about the motivations of the institutions that sought to control it. Was it possible that the Templars, with their vast network and influence, discovered a truth that threatened the very foundations of Christian doctrine, or perhaps the accepted view of the world? If the Templars had found something that challenged the mainstream religious narrative, whether it be an alternative interpretation of biblical texts or an understanding of ancient civilizations and their teachings, then the Order's downfall may have been less about wealth and more about control. This brings us to the mysterious relics that the Templars were believed to have guarded. Among these relics, the most famous is the Holy Grail, which has been the subject of myth and legend for centuries. According to some accounts, the Templars were the secret guardians of the Grail, a divine object that held immense power and significance. While the Grail is most commonly associated with Christian tradition, said to be the cup used by Christ during the Last Supper, other theories suggest that the Grail was not just a physical object, but rather a symbol of hidden, ancient knowledge. If the Grail was indeed a metaphor for a deeper, more profound truth, then the Templars' role as its protectors would have been even more significant. But if the Templars were indeed the guardians of such an important relic, it raises the question of what happened to it after their fall. The Order's sudden and brutal dissolution in the early 14th century left a void that many believe the Templars sought to fill in secret. Some argue that the Grail, or whatever it represented, was hidden away, concealed from the church and secular authorities, who were too dangerous to trust with such power. The notion that the Templars may have concealed the Grail, or the knowledge associated with it, in remote or secret locations has been a source of fascination for centuries. The idea that this knowledge could still be out there, waiting to be uncovered, continues to fuel treasure hunts and historical investigations to this day. In addition to the Grail, there are other relics and artifacts that have been linked to the Templars. Some believe that the Order was in possession of the true cross, the very cross on which Jesus Christ was crucified, a relic of immense religious significance. Others suggest that the Templars had access to the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred chest said to contain the tablets of the Ten Commandments, which had been lost to history for millennia. The Templars' connection to such relics, whether actual or symbolic, further cements the idea that they were not simply soldiers of Christ, but guardians of sacred objects that had the potential to alter the course of history. Another aspect of the Templars' legacy that has captivated the imagination is their connection to Freemasonry. Many believe that the Freemasons are the spiritual descendants of the Templars, inheriting their symbols, rituals, and hidden knowledge. The Freemasons, a secret society that traces its origins to the medieval stonemasons' guilds, have long been associated with mysticism, occult knowledge, and the preservation of ancient wisdom. The similarities between Templar and Masonic symbols, such as the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and the use of cryptic gestures, have led many to speculate that the Freemasons are, in fact, the modern-day heirs to the Templar tradition. The idea that the Templars passed down their knowledge to the Freemasons has become a central theme in various conspiracy theories and works of fiction. Some claim that the Freemasons are not just a fraternity of men, but the guardians of a vast and ancient repository of knowledge, much of which was passed down from the Templars. These theories often suggest that the Freemasons continue to guard the secrets of the past, including the hidden treasure and ancient wisdom that the Templars once protected. Whether or not these claims are true is difficult to ascertain, but the parallels between the two organizations, both in their symbols and their secrecy, are striking and continue to fuel the mystery surrounding the Templars. In the centuries following the Templars' fall, their legacy has been preserved not just in history books, but in the fabric of Western culture. The Order's symbols, rituals, and supposed secrets have permeated various aspects of society, from architecture to literature to popular culture. The Templars have become more than just a historical group. They have become a symbol of mystery, intrigue, and the search for hidden knowledge. The question of whether the Templars were privy to ancient secrets, secrets that could change our understanding of history and religion, remains one of the most enduring and provocative mysteries in Western culture. As we reflect on the Templar story, we are confronted with the idea that they were not simply men of their time, but men who were connected to something much larger, something far older. The Templars' role in history was not just defined by their military campaigns or their wealth, but by their quest for knowledge. Knowledge that may have been too powerful, too dangerous, or too transformative for the world to fully understand. The Templars' disappearance from the historical record does not mark the end of their story, but rather the beginning of an enduring mystery. Whether or not they were the protectors of the Grail, the guardians of lost knowledge, or the keepers of ancient secrets, their legacy continues to resonate today. Their story is one of ambition, secrecy, and the pursuit of truth, a story that will continue to captivate, inspire, and perplex for generations to come. In the wake of the Templars' disbandment, a new chapter in their story began to emerge, one filled with legends, conspiracy theories, and mysteries that continue to captivate the world centuries later. What truly happened to the Templars after their official dissolution in the early 1300s? Were they entirely destroyed, or did they find a way to survive in secret, their legacy hidden from the watchful eyes of the Church and the monarchy? To answer this question, we must consider not only the fates of the surviving knights but also the ripple effects their disappearance had on the world around them, and how the echoes of their order may have reverberated throughout history in ways we have yet to fully understand. Though many Templar knights were executed or imprisoned, others are believed to have escaped the wrath of King Philip IV, fleeing across Europe and into distant lands. It is widely accepted that the French king's orders to arrest the Templars were not solely confined to France. The spread of the arrest warrants across Europe was swift, but as with all things of such monumental scale, there were holes in the net. Many knights were able to evade capture, particularly in lands far removed from Philip's direct influence. These men, either through clever subterfuge or outright flight, sought refuge in countries that were either sympathetic to their cause or too far removed from the French crown to be affected by the king's wrath. Scotland, Portugal, and even parts of Italy became safe havens for these exiled knights, and in the years following the disbandment, they went into hiding or re-established themselves under different guises, continuing their work in secret. One of the most intriguing theories suggests that the Templars did not simply flee to these countries, but that they embedded themselves into new organizations, taking on different roles while continuing to preserve the knowledge and traditions of their order. One such example is the claim that the Templars became involved with the Freemasons, a secret society that, like the Templars, is known for its use of symbols, rituals, and esoteric knowledge. The idea that the Freemasons were the spiritual descendants of the Templars has been a subject of debate for centuries. The similarities between the two groups, such as their use of ritual, secrecy, and the widespread adoption of Templar symbols, have led many to speculate that the Freemasons inherited the Templars' ancient knowledge and practices. Whether or not this connection is direct, the legacy of the Templars lived on through the Freemasons, who were said to carry forward their ideals and protect the secrets of the past. In addition to the potential link to Freemasonry, there is also the theory that the Templars took refuge in other secret societies that emerged throughout the centuries. One such society is the Rosicrucians, a mystical organization that claimed to have been founded in the early 17th century, but whose origins have been linked by some to the Templars. The Rosicrucians, much like the Templars, were dedicated to the pursuit of hidden knowledge and alchemical wisdom. The society's use of cryptic symbols and its focus on secret knowledge has led some to suggest that the Rosicrucians were not merely a product of the Renaissance, but rather the inheritors of the Templars' legacy, continuing their work of guarding ancient truths and esoteric knowledge. Beyond the secret societies, there is also the possibility that the Templars did not simply vanish into the shadows but actively sought to preserve their influence in more direct ways. The historical record suggests that, in the years following their disbandment, remnants of the order resurfaced in various parts of Europe, albeit in different forms. For example, the Knights Hospitaller, another military order, would eventually rise to prominence in the aftermath of the Templars' destruction. Some argue that the Hospitallers absorbed some of the Templars' influence, adopting their methods, military strategies, and even their organizational structure. Similarly, there are those who believe that the Templars maintained clandestine networks, operating as a shadowy force behind the scenes of European politics, using their wealth and influence to subtly shape events for centuries after their fall. Another theory that has long captured the imagination of those intrigued by the Templar mystery is that the Order's treasure, rumored to be vast and hidden away in secret locations, was not merely a fortune in gold and silver, but a repository of ancient artifacts and knowledge that the Templars sought to protect. If the Templars did indeed uncover or safeguard relics of immense significance, such as the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, or other sacred artifacts, their disappearance would not simply have been about protecting material wealth. These relics, with their immense symbolic and potential spiritual power, would have demanded not just secrecy but active concealment. The belief that the Templars hid their treasure, perhaps in places such as the legendary Oak Island in Canada or other remote, unexplored regions, has been a driving force behind treasure hunts and investigations throughout the centuries. But it's not just the material treasure that has captivated explorers. The potential for lost knowledge, ancient manuscripts, cryptic texts, or scrolls containing forgotten wisdom has been an equally powerful motivator for those seeking to uncover the truth behind the Templars' disappearance. The idea that the Templars were protectors of such sacred knowledge raises even more profound questions. If the order was indeed guarding ancient wisdom that had been passed down through millennia, could it be that they held the key to understanding human history in ways that remain elusive? Could the Templars have uncovered a truth so powerful, so transformative, that the very forces of church and monarchy combined to suppress it? In this context, the Templars' downfall becomes not just a matter of financial ambition or political rivalry, but one of existential importance. The struggle to control the flow of knowledge and power that could alter the course of civilization. The notion that the Templars were involved in a deeper, more spiritual or metaphysical mission has been embraced by many who see their activities as part of a grander design. Some believe that the Templars were members of a wider, ancient tradition that spanned across various cultures and religions, one that understood and preserved universal truths that transcended any single belief system. Could it be that the Templars were not simply warriors of the Christian faith but guardians of a much older and more universal wisdom? This theory suggests that the Templars were aware of the interconnectedness of all religions and spiritual practices, and that their true mission was not to protect any single faith, but to safeguard the secrets of a lost, unified understanding of the world. If this is true, then the Templars' fall was not merely the dissolution of a military order but the suppression of a cosmic, timeless knowledge that threatened to reshape human consciousness. In the centuries following their disbandment, the Templars continued to live on in the form of rumors, myths, and speculative theories. Their legacy, though fragmented and obscured, had a lasting impact on the world. From the rise of secret societies and the proliferation of esoteric knowledge to the search for hidden treasures and sacred artifacts, the Templars' story was far from over. If anything, the mystery of their true purpose only deepened as time went on. The notion that the Templars had left behind more than just a financial empire or a military force, that they had, in fact, been guardians of profound secrets that could change the course of human history, remains a tantalizing and enduring theory. As we look back at the Templars' legacy, we are faced with a story that defies easy explanation. The men who once wore the white mantle of the order are long gone, but the questions they left behind continue to haunt us. What were they really guarding? What did they uncover during their time in the Holy Land and throughout their travels across Europe? What hidden truths did they possess? And why have these truths remained elusive for so long? The Templars' story is not just a chapter in the past. It is a riddle that continues to beg for an answer. Whether they were simply a group of medieval knights caught in a web of political intrigue, or whether they were the guardians of something far greater, their legacy remains one of the most enduring and captivating mysteries of all time. As we continue to explore the enduring enigma of the Templars, it becomes evident that their story is not just about a lost fleet, hidden treasure, or mysterious symbols, but rather about a far-reaching network of secrets, mysteries, and unanswered questions that transcend time itself. Even after their disbandment and the tragic end for many of their knights, the Templars left behind a legacy of myth and legend that seems to grow in intrigue rather than fade into obscurity. From whispered rumors to grand conspiracies, the surviving pieces of the Templar puzzle have drawn historians, treasure hunters, and mystics alike into a web of speculation. What if there is still something the Templars left behind, something so hidden, so well guarded, that it has taken centuries to even begin to uncover its meaning? One of the most powerful mysteries surrounding the Templars is their so-called lost fleet. For years, this aspect of their history has been the subject of intense speculation and intrigue. The notion of a fleet, potentially carrying the Templars' treasure or, more tantalizingly, their sacred knowledge, mysteriously disappearing into the mists of history, has fired the imaginations of countless researchers and adventurers. What became of the Templar fleet? Where did it go, and more importantly, what was its purpose? Was the fleet simply a collection of ships used in their crusades, or did it hold a far more significant role, one connected to the fate of the order itself? The idea of a lost Templar fleet is not just a myth or the creation of storytellers. Historical records from the time suggest that the Templars did indeed possess a formidable naval presence, particularly during their time in the Mediterranean. In fact, at the height of their power, the order controlled a significant fleet, which helped protect Christian pilgrims on their way to the Holy Land and safeguarded key territories in the Crusader states. The Templars were not just warriors. They were skilled sailors and navigators who commanded an impressive naval force. Their fleet was a critical part of their operations, providing them with the ability to move swiftly and efficiently across the Mediterranean, transporting troops, supplies, and resources to key locations. However, after the fall of the order in the early 14th century, the fate of their fleet remains a subject of great mystery. According to some theories, the Templars managed to hide or smuggle away their most valuable possessions, including their fleet, before their enemies could seize them. The idea that they might have hidden away their fleet, along with their treasures and sacred relics, has led to numerous theories about the fleet's final destination. Some believe that the fleet set sail across the Atlantic, possibly even reaching the shores of the Americas long before Columbus' famous voyages. Others speculate that the fleet was buried beneath the waves, concealed in secret locations throughout the Mediterranean or other parts of the world. If the Templars did indeed manage to escape with their fleet, the implications of this discovery would be staggering. Could this fleet still be hidden somewhere, waiting to be found? And if so, what might it reveal about the Templars' true purpose? One of the most famous locations that has been linked to the Templar fleet is Oak Island, a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada. For centuries, Oak Island has been the site of numerous treasure hunts, many of which have been fueled by the belief that the Templars hid their wealth there. The island's mystery has only deepened over time, with strange artifacts, symbols, and structures being uncovered in the course of various excavations. Some researchers have speculated that the island could be the final resting place of the Templars' most prized possessions, including their fleet. If the fleet did indeed make its way across the Atlantic, could it be that it was hidden in plain sight on Oak Island? The idea of a Templar fleet concealed in the waters off a small, obscure island in Canada is nothing short of captivating. Yet, despite centuries of exploration, no definitive evidence has ever been uncovered to confirm this theory. Nonetheless, the connection between Oak Island and the Templars persists as one of the most tantalizing mysteries in the search for the Order's lost legacy. But the question of the lost fleet isn't confined to speculation about hidden treasures. The very existence of such a fleet suggests something much larger at play, something connected to the idea that the Templars had far-reaching plans and ambitions that extended beyond their immediate military or religious concerns. If the Templars' fleet was more than just a tool for warfare, could it have been part of a grander scheme? One theory proposes that the fleet was designed to transport something far more important than treasure or soldiers: ancient knowledge. Could the fleet have been part of an effort to move critical documents, manuscripts, or sacred relics from the Middle East to the Western world? If so, the Templars may have seen their fleet as a means to preserve knowledge that had been passed down through secretive channels for centuries. This theory is further supported by the Templars' close association with the mystical and esoteric traditions that permeated their order. Many scholars believe that the Templars were deeply involved in the preservation of ancient knowledge, not just Christian doctrine, but a broader, more universal set of teachings that encompassed wisdom from a variety of sources. The Templars' access to ancient texts, many of which were preserved by Islamic scholars during the Crusades, suggests that they were not just interested in defending Christian pilgrims, but in understanding and safeguarding knowledge that had been passed down from earlier civilizations, knowledge that could have included philosophical, mathematical, or even scientific advancements that had been suppressed or forgotten in Europe for centuries. The connection between the Templar fleet and the movement of ancient knowledge raises another intriguing possibility: that the fleet was part of a larger plan to establish a secret network of knowledge dissemination. If the Templars were, as some believe, in possession of ancient scrolls or manuscripts that contained forbidden wisdom, could it be that their fleet was designed to transport these documents across vast distances, ensuring that they were preserved and protected? In this context, The fleet would not simply be a transport vessel for material wealth but rather a mobile repository of esoteric knowledge, moving from one location to another, hidden from prying eyes. The idea that the Templars' fleet carried more than just treasure, that it could have been the vehicle for the transmission of ancient wisdom, adds a layer of complexity to the mystery. What were these secret documents? What kind of knowledge did they contain? And why was it so important that it had to be hidden from the world? The answer to these questions, if it exists, may still lie out there, hidden in the depths of history. The idea that a fleet of Templar ships could have sailed across the Atlantic or disappeared into the Mediterranean, carrying with them a wealth of sacred knowledge and artifacts, is one that stretches the boundaries of historical understanding. But the possibility that the Templars were not just an order of knights, but a global network of secret protectors, guardians of ancient wisdom, raises profound questions about the nature of history itself. Could the Templars have been part of a larger, hidden narrative, one that transcends the events of the Crusades and extends into a much broader, more ancient tradition? Could their fleet have been a means to safeguard and transport knowledge that had the potential to reshape the future? As we dig deeper into the mystery of the Templar fleet, we uncover a series of clues, both historical and speculative, that suggest the Templars' legacy extends far beyond the borders of medieval Europe. From Oak Island to the mysterious symbols found across the world, the idea that the Templars left behind a secret network of knowledge, concealed in their fleet, their treasure, and their symbols, continues to intrigue and mystify. The search for the lost fleet may very well be a metaphor for a much larger journey. The search for hidden truths, the forgotten knowledge of humanity's past, and the enduring question of what the Templars truly knew. Whether the fleet exists as a tangible artifact or remains a part of the mythic Templar legacy, its very existence speaks to something much deeper, a yearning to uncover the hidden history of the world and the secrets that have been locked away for centuries. The mystery surrounding the Templars is not just confined to their military prowess, religious affiliation, or even the vast wealth and secrets they supposedly guarded. Their story is woven into the very fabric of history, filled with intricate puzzles and unsolved riddles. One of the most compelling and perplexing aspects of their legacy is the question of their downfall and the events that led to their dramatic disbandment. What truly happened on that fateful day in 1307 when the Templars were arrested? And why did the Catholic Church, along with the King of France, decide to bring such a powerful and influential order to its knees? The fall of the Templars is often presented as the culmination of political intrigue and betrayal, but could there have been other, more profound motivations behind their destruction? Ones that have been hidden from history? The official narrative of the Templar downfall is widely known. In the early morning hours of Friday, October 13, 1307, King Philip IV of France, who was deeply in debt to the Templars, ordered the arrest of all members of the order in France. The charges levied against the Templars were sweeping: heresy, idol worship, sexual immorality, and even the worship of a mysterious figure known as the Baphomet. These accusations were severe, and in many cases wholly unfounded. But they served a singular purpose: to discredit the Templars and to provide a justification for their swift and brutal dismantling. Philip's actions were likely motivated by a combination of financial and political reasons. As the Templar order had grown in power, it had accumulated vast wealth, property, and influence. The Templars were also bankers, managing the wealth of kings, nobles, and pilgrims alike. This gave them an enormous economic reach, and over time, King Philip came to view the Templars not just as a necessary military order, but as a dangerous financial rival. At the same time, Philip was embroiled in a long-standing conflict with Pope Clement V, who was under the king's political influence. The Templars, as an independent order, were a significant power in Europe, and their presence in Philip's kingdom was a constant thorn in his side. Yet, there's more to the story than simple political rivalry or economic greed. If the Templars were simply an obstacle to Philip's ambitions, why go to such extraordinary lengths to dismantle them? Why was it necessary to accuse them of such heinous crimes, including the mysterious charge of heresy, which would forever tarnish the order's name? Was it possible that the Templars were seen as more than just a financial or military threat? Were they guarding something that, if uncovered, could have irrevocably changed the course of history? The events of 1307 may have been the result of a deeper and more complex conflict, one rooted in the very foundations of religious and spiritual knowledge. In the years leading up to their fall, the Templars had grown increasingly independent, both in terms of their wealth and their spiritual beliefs. They had established their own rules, their own rituals, and their own interpretations of Christian doctrine. These practices were not entirely in line with the teachings of the Catholic Church, and some scholars believe that the Templars were actively involved in the study of esoteric and Gnostic texts, ancient writings that challenged the established views of Christianity. The accusation of heresy, then, could have been more than just a pretext. It may have reflected a genuine concern within the Church that the Templars were practicing a form of Christianity that was incompatible with traditional doctrine. The mystery of the Baphomet, the figure at the heart of the Templar heresy charges, only deepens this speculation. What was the Baphomet? Some suggest that it was a pagan deity worshipped by the Templars, a figure associated with dark forces or occult practices. Others propose that the Baphomet was a symbolic representation of hidden knowledge, a secret that the Templars had discovered during their time in the Holy Land. If the Baphomet was not a literal figure of worship but rather a metaphor for forbidden knowledge, then the Templars' alleged heresy takes on a new, more profound meaning. Were the Templars protecting a secret so dangerous, so powerful, that it could have shaken the very foundations of Christian theology? Was the Baphomet a representation of some deeper, more ancient truth that the Church, which controlled the flow of spiritual knowledge, was desperate to suppress? The Templars' connection to the Holy Land also plays a significant role in the mystery of their downfall. During their time in Jerusalem and the surrounding areas, the Templars had access to a wealth of ancient knowledge, much of which had been preserved by Muslim scholars. Could the Templars have uncovered something in the Holy Land, perhaps an ancient manuscript or relic, that contradicted or even challenged the teachings of the Church? If so, the Templars may have become a threat to the very foundation of Christian belief, and their destruction was a necessary step to preserve the established order. In this context, the Templars' role as protectors of Christian pilgrims becomes less significant than their role as guardians of a much deeper, more powerful secret. But if the Templars were indeed in possession of such knowledge, what happened to it after their downfall? Many conspiracy theories suggest that the Templars' treasure, including any ancient manuscripts or relics, was hidden away before the order was disbanded. The idea that the Templars concealed their wealth and knowledge in secret locations around Europe, or perhaps even further afield, has been a central theme of countless investigations and treasure hunts. Some have speculated that the Templars' hidden treasure was moved to far-off lands, such as Scotland, where the Knights Templar had significant influence. Others have pointed to the mysterious Oak Island in Nova Scotia, Canada, as a potential hiding place for the Templars' lost fortune. Could it be that the Templars left behind a hidden trail, a series of clues or symbols that could lead to their long-lost secrets? In the centuries following the Templars' disbandment, their legacy lived on in the form of myths, legends, and secret societies. The idea that the Templars possessed forbidden knowledge or were the guardians of a powerful secret has inspired numerous conspiracy theories. Some have even suggested that the Templars' downfall was not just the result of political and financial maneuvering, but part of a much larger battle between opposing forces of knowledge, those who sought to control it and those who sought to preserve it. Could it be that the Templars' true purpose was to guard a secret so powerful, so transformative, that its revelation would have forever altered the course of history? The mystery surrounding the Templars and their fall continues to fuel speculation to this day. Despite the centuries that have passed since their disbandment, the story of the Templars remains one of the most captivating and enigmatic chapters of history. Was their destruction simply the result of political and economic forces, or was there something deeper at play? Something that involved ancient secrets, forbidden knowledge, and a battle for control over the spiritual and intellectual future of the world? The more we investigate, the more we are left with more questions than answers. The Templars' story is not just one of medieval knights and military conquest. It is a tale of hidden truths, secret societies, and the enduring search for knowledge that lies just beyond our grasp. As long as the mystery of the Templars persists, so too will the speculation and the search for answers that could reveal the true purpose of their order and the incredible secrets they may have left behind. The fall of the Templars and their disappearance into the shadows of history have spurred not only a wealth of speculation about their treasures and hidden knowledge, but also about their lasting influence on the world. To understand the depth of the Templar mystery, one must look beyond the official narrative of their disbandment and arrest, and instead explore the broader implications of their existence, and the ways in which their legacy continues to haunt the modern world. For centuries, people have wondered, what if the Templars were more than just a medieval military order? What if their influence extended far beyond the Crusades? And what if they left behind a hidden imprint on the world, still visible to this day? The idea that the Templars left behind a hidden legacy, carefully concealed from the world, has been a central theme in the study of their history. It is often suggested that the Templars were not merely soldiers who fought for the defense of Christendom, but that they were also custodians of a profound, almost mystical knowledge that had the potential to reshape the way we view our own history and the world around us. In the centuries that followed their fall, the Templars became the subject of countless legends and conspiracies, many of which posited that the order's true purpose was far deeper than anyone could have imagined. Could it be that the Templars were not simply protecting treasure or sacred relics, but something far more intangible and powerful? Could they have been guarding a hidden truth, a secret that, if revealed, would forever alter the course of history? For much of history, the Templars have been seen as the epitome of power, wealth, and religious devotion. However, what sets them apart from other medieval orders is their deep connection to the mysteries of the ancient world. From their early days, the Templars were not just soldiers but scholars, mathematicians, and philosophers. It is believed that they were exposed to a wealth of knowledge during their time in the Holy Land, knowledge that came from ancient cultures and from civilizations that had long been forgotten by Europe. The Templars were in a unique position to collect and study this knowledge, and it is thought that they preserved many of these ancient texts, manuscripts, and relics, texts that may have contained secrets of the past, ideas that had been suppressed or lost to time. Some even suggest that the Templars had access to a body of knowledge passed down from the ancient Egyptians, Greeks, or even older, more enigmatic civilizations, and that their role was to protect and guard these secrets until the time was right for them to be revealed. One of the most enduring aspects of Templar lore is their connection to the Holy Grail. The idea that the Templars were the guardians of the Grail, or that they possessed knowledge of its true nature, has been a part of their mythos for centuries. The Grail, in Christian legend, is said to be the cup used by Christ during the Last Supper, but in many interpretations, it is more than just a physical object. It is often viewed as a symbol of divine knowledge, of a deeper understanding of the universe and the nature of existence itself. In this sense, the Grail may have represented something much more than a simple relic. It may have been a representation of the hidden knowledge that the Templars were protecting. This idea is further reinforced by the belief that the Templars were not just guarding the Grail but also seeking it out, searching for a deeper understanding of the mysteries of the world. Were the Templars involved in uncovering a hidden truth about the origins of humanity, the nature of the divine, or the secrets of the cosmos? And if so, what could this truth have been? The possibility that the Templars were the keepers of such a profound secret has led many to suggest that the order's true purpose was to preserve knowledge, not just in the form of religious texts, but also in the form of ancient wisdom, passed down through generations. This theory proposes that the Templars were not merely a military organization but an intellectual and spiritual brotherhood, dedicated to uncovering the lost truths of the past. They were scholars, mystics, and seekers of knowledge, working not only to defend the Christian faith, but to preserve the wisdom of ancient civilizations that had long been forgotten. This idea aligns with the growing belief that the Templars were in possession of knowledge that was hidden from the world, knowledge that could be dangerous if it were to fall into the wrong hands. Throughout history, many have pointed to the Templars' connection to the ancient world as evidence that they were not merely a medieval order, but the inheritors of a much older tradition, one that stretched back thousands of years. Could the Templars have been part of a much larger, secret network of scholars and mystics who preserved ancient knowledge? Some believe that the Templars were connected to a variety of secret societies, some of which were founded long before their time. One of the most prominent theories is that the Templars were the direct spiritual ancestors of the Freemasons, a secret society that emerged in the late medieval period. The Freemasons, like the Templars, were known for their use of symbols, their rituals, and their deep connection to esoteric knowledge. Many of the symbols used by the Freemasons, such as the all-seeing eye, the compass and square, and the use of cryptic language, are thought to have been inherited from the Templars, suggesting a continuity of knowledge and tradition that stretches back to the ancient world. The idea that the Templars were connected to the Freemasons is one of the most enduring and controversial theories surrounding their legacy. If the Templars were indeed part of a larger network of secret societies, it would explain much about their mysterious disappearance. The Templars may have been wiped out publicly, but their teachings, their rituals, and their wisdom may have survived in secret, passed down through generations of initiates, and protected by a network of societies that operated in the shadows. This theory suggests that the Templars' mission was not simply to protect material wealth or religious artifacts, but to preserve and transmit ancient knowledge that could potentially revolutionize human understanding. This hidden knowledge, according to some theories, could be much more profound than just religious or philosophical ideas. It may have encompassed knowledge of the natural world, of the cosmos, and of human potential. Some suggest that the Templars were aware of esoteric truths about the universe, about the forces that govern existence, and about the nature of reality itself. Could the Templars have been privy to ancient wisdom that was far ahead of their time? Was their secret knowledge so advanced that it would have posed a challenge to the established world order? In this view, the Templars were not just warriors of Christ, but spiritual pioneers, working to unlock the mysteries of the universe and protect that knowledge from those who would seek to suppress it. The question of what the Templars truly knew, and what they may have passed on to future generations, is one that continues to haunt historians and seekers alike. Despite the passing centuries, the Templars' legacy remains a source of fascination and mystery. The idea that they were the protectors of ancient, hidden knowledge continues to inspire treasure hunters, spiritual seekers, and conspiracy theorists. The Templars' secrets may have been buried, but their story is far from over. It is a story that continues to unfold, piece by piece, as new discoveries are made and new interpretations are offered. In the end, the mystery of the Templars may never be fully resolved. But perhaps that is part of the allure. The Templars have become symbols of hidden knowledge, of the search for deeper truths that lie just beyond the reach of history. Their story is a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world, secrets that have been buried for centuries, waiting to be uncovered. And it is in this search for the unknown, this quest for hidden knowledge, that the legacy of the Templars lives on, as enigmatic and powerful as ever. The mystique surrounding the Templars extends far beyond their dramatic fall from grace and the speculation about their hidden treasures. It's the concept of their survival that remains one of the most captivating and elusive aspects of their story. While most historical accounts have depicted the Templars as a group wiped out by political and religious forces, others suggest that the order's demise was not as complete as it seemed. Could it be that the Templars, in some form, managed to survive the purge of the early 14th century? Was there a deeper, more subtle survival plan, one that operated beneath the surface of history, out of sight and reach from the authorities? These questions have sparked endless debates and prompted countless investigations into the fate of the Templars after their disbandment. The notion that the Templars didn't vanish but rather adapted, hid, and continued their mission in secret is one of the most persistent theories surrounding their legacy. In the years following the official dissolution of the Templar Order in 1312, the surviving members scattered across Europe, often taking refuge in distant or obscure corners of the continent. Some fled to areas of Europe where the influence of King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V was weaker. Scotland, with its strong ties to the Templars, became a prime destination for exiled knights. The connection between the Templars and Scotland is well documented, with many historians believing that the knights found sanctuary there after their persecution. What made Scotland particularly appealing to the Templars was the fact that the country was an ally of the French, and many nobles in Scotland were sympathetic to the order. In fact, there is evidence suggesting that the Templars were instrumental in assisting the Scottish resistance during the Wars of Scottish Independence, particularly against the English. The Templars' continued presence in Scotland has led to speculation that they may have laid the groundwork for the formation of a secret society that would preserve their traditions and knowledge long after their formal disbandment. Some historians and conspiracy theorists have suggested that the Freemasons, the world's most famous secret society, are the direct descendants of the Templars. The idea is that the Templars, having lost their official status, went underground and re-established themselves in the form of the Freemasons, using their ancient symbols, rituals, and codes of secrecy to protect the knowledge they had once guarded. The symbols and rituals of the Freemasons bear striking similarities to those of the Templars, particularly their use of geometry, the compass and square, and the concept of building something greater. If this theory holds true, the Freemasons could be seen as the modern incarnation of the Templars, continuing their mission in secret, albeit under a different guise. Another area where the Templars' survival is believed to have left a mark is in the world of art and architecture. Many of the great cathedrals and churches built during and after the time of the Templars bear distinct Templar symbols and motifs. These symbols are often seen as markers, hints at the true purpose of the buildings, which some believe were constructed not just for religious purposes, but as repositories for the knowledge and secrets the Templars sought to preserve. One example of this is the famous Temple Church in London, which was built by the Templars in the 12th century. The church contains a number of unusual and enigmatic features, such as its circular shape, which is believed by some to symbolize the idea of eternal life or the hidden circle of knowledge. The architecture of these churches, with their labyrinthine layouts and hidden chambers, may have been designed not just to house the faithful, but to protect the order's most precious secrets, shielding them from the eyes of outsiders. The idea that the Templars might have survived by embedding their knowledge in sacred architecture is not confined to a single church or cathedral, but rather is a widespread theme throughout Europe. Churches and chapels built during this period often contain hidden symbols, such as the well-known flower of life or geometric patterns that hint at esoteric knowledge. These symbols, it is argued, were left behind by the Templars to preserve their teachings, even as their formal power and influence had been shattered. The presence of these cryptic designs in such sacred spaces suggests that the Templars, or those who succeeded them, were deeply committed to maintaining their spiritual and intellectual heritage, even if they had to do so in secret. The notion that the Templars' survival was ensured through the design of hidden messages within sacred spaces adds an intriguing layer to the mystery of their legacy. As the centuries passed, the idea of a Templar survival became more and more intertwined with the rise of other secret societies and mysterious organizations. It is believed by some that the Templars did not only survive through their connection to Freemasonry, but also through their ties to other mystical and esoteric groups. The Rosicrucians, an influential secret society that emerged in the 17th century, are often linked to the Templars by those who claim that the ancient knowledge of the Templars was passed down through their ranks. Like the Templars, the Rosicrucians were interested in the pursuit of hidden knowledge, spiritual enlightenment, and the alchemical transformation of the self. They shared many of the Templars' beliefs, such as the importance of geometric and symbolic patterns, and the idea that true wisdom lies in the uncovering of ancient truths. It is thought that the Templars' secret teachings may have been incorporated into the Rosicrucian philosophy, ensuring that the order's legacy lived on, albeit under a different name. One of the most persistent ideas about the survival of the Templars is that they were guardians of ancient and powerful knowledge that was far too dangerous for the powers that be to allow to reach the public. Some theorists suggest that the Templars were in possession of the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, or other significant religious artifacts, and that their purpose was not merely to protect these items, but to safeguard the knowledge that they embodied. If the Templars were indeed privy to this kind of sacred and forbidden knowledge, then their survival would have been about more than simply preserving material wealth or religious relics. The real secret, according to these theories, was the deeper, hidden wisdom contained within these artifacts, wisdom that had the potential to challenge the very foundations of religion, history, and human understanding. This knowledge, if revealed, could have altered the course of civilization. Hence, the Templar survival may have been a way of ensuring that this knowledge was kept safe from those who would seek to exploit or destroy it. The idea of the Templars' secret knowledge being too powerful to be revealed is reinforced by the perception that the Catholic Church itself was complicit in suppressing the truth. In the aftermath of the Templar disbandment, the Church took great pains to eliminate any trace of the order's teachings, removing texts, banning their symbols, and even erasing their influence from history. The idea that the Church sought to control and conceal this knowledge suggests that the Templars were more than just a threat to the Church's authority. They were a challenge to the very structure of Christian dogma. Their teachings, and the knowledge they protected, had the potential to undermine the Church's control over spiritual matters. Thus, the Templars' survival would have been a way of keeping this forbidden knowledge out of the hands of those who would use it to maintain their power. In modern times, the belief in the Templars' survival has inspired countless treasure hunters, scholars, and seekers of hidden knowledge. The idea that the Templars left behind clues, symbols, maps, and cryptic messages that could lead to the discovery of their lost secrets has fueled a global search for hidden treasures and forgotten wisdom. From the mysterious Oak Island to the hidden vaults beneath the cathedrals of Europe, the search for the Templars' secrets continues. While no definitive proof has ever emerged that the Templars left behind a lasting legacy, the allure of their survival persists. The idea that the Templars managed to continue their work in secret, preserving their knowledge and traditions for future generations, has captured the imaginations of those who believe that the Order's true purpose has yet to be revealed. The survival of the Templars, whether literal or metaphorical, speaks to something deeper. A desire to preserve knowledge and wisdom that transcends time, a longing to protect the truth from those who would seek to suppress it. As long as the mysteries surrounding the Templars endure, so too will the belief that they continue to live on, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the moment when their secrets will finally be uncovered and the true purpose of their order revealed. The Templars' legacy, shrouded in myth and enigma, remains one of the most powerful and enduring mysteries in the history of the Western world. Their survival, in whatever form it takes, is a testament to the enduring power of secrets, knowledge, and the quest for truth. As we venture further into the mystery of the Templars and their enigmatic history, we find ourselves at the crossroads of legend, reality, and the pursuit of hidden knowledge. The survival and legacy of the Templars are tied not only to their time in history, but to the profound mysteries they may have left behind, waiting to be uncovered. Their story does not simply end with the fall of their order or the arrest of their knights. It stretches far beyond that, existing in a world of symbols, conspiracies, and intellectual pursuit. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Templar legacy lies in the symbols and codes they left behind. Symbols that continue to intrigue scholars, mystics, and historians alike. These symbols, found in the architecture of churches, on ancient manuscripts, and in the most unlikely places, are believed to contain secrets that, when decoded, could reveal the true purpose of the Templars and the hidden knowledge they sought to preserve. The significance of these symbols raises an important question. Were the Templars just a religious and military order, or were they also a society of knowledge keepers, transmitting secrets that could potentially change the course of history? The Templars' involvement with symbols and hidden knowledge has long been a subject of fascination. From their use of the Red Cross, the distinctive emblem that became synonymous with their name, to the cryptic messages embedded in the architecture of their churches, the Templars seem to have left a trail of clues that point to something greater, something beyond the public face of their order. These symbols were not merely decorative. They were, it seems, carefully chosen to encode deeper meanings that only those initiated into the order's mysteries could fully understand. The use of symbolism was central to the Templars' identity, and it was employed in ways that suggest they were deeply concerned with preserving knowledge and wisdom that transcended the surface of everyday life. One of the most enduring symbols associated with the Templars is the Red Cross, which was emblazoned on their tunics and shields. At first glance, this cross seems to be a simple religious emblem, representing the Christian faith and the Templars' role as defenders of Christendom. But the Red Cross may have had a deeper, more complex meaning. Some theorists suggest that the cross symbolized the intersection of two powerful forces, spiritual and material. It is said that the Templars viewed the cross not just as a symbol of Christ's sacrifice, but as a map of the universe, with each arm of the cross representing a different aspect of reality. In this interpretation, the Red Cross becomes a gateway, a way to access hidden knowledge and understanding, one that transcends religious dogma and connects the earthly realm with the divine. Beyond the Red Cross, the Templars are also known for their use of other esoteric symbols, some of which have been found in the architecture of their churches. These symbols often bear a striking resemblance to ancient motifs, including geometric patterns and shapes that can be traced back to pre-Christian civilizations. Many of these symbols are thought to represent the preservation of ancient wisdom that had been passed down through secretive and esoteric traditions. One example of this is the use of the pentagram, a five-pointed star, which is commonly associated with occult practices and mystical traditions. The Templars' use of this symbol is believed by some to be a reflection of their connection to ancient spiritual traditions, including the mysticism of the Pythagoreans and the teachings of the ancient Egyptians. The pentagram, in particular, has long been a symbol of balance and harmony, representing the five elements of nature: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, and the balance between the material and spiritual worlds. For the Templars, this symbol may have represented the integration of divine knowledge into the everyday world, a way to bridge the gap between the sacred and the profane. The presence of these symbols in the Templar churches and manuscripts has led many to believe that the Templars were not just protecting physical treasures, but also safeguarding a treasure trove of knowledge. It is often suggested that the Templars were the guardians of esoteric texts, ancient manuscripts that contained wisdom from forgotten civilizations. These texts, many of which were said to be of mystical or philosophical nature, could have contained secrets about the origins of humanity, the nature of the divine, and the true history of the world. Could these manuscripts, if uncovered, reveal a hidden truth about the past, one that could challenge the established narratives of religion, science, and history? The idea that the Templars were protectors of such knowledge leads us to consider the possibility that they were not merely warriors or monks, but intellectuals, guardians of a hidden tradition of wisdom that was too dangerous to be shared with the general public. The idea that the Templars were protectors of ancient knowledge is further supported by their connection to the Holy Land and their involvement in the Crusades. During their time in Jerusalem, the Templars were exposed to a wealth of knowledge that had been preserved by Muslim scholars, as well as by Jewish and Christian communities in the region. This knowledge included ancient texts, philosophical works, and scientific discoveries that had been lost to Europe during the Dark Ages. The Templars, being a highly educated and intellectual order, were in a unique position to gather, preserve, and study these texts. It is believed by some that they not only collected these manuscripts but also translated and studied them in great detail, uncovering secrets that had been hidden for centuries. In this way, the Templars could have become the custodians of knowledge that was far ahead of its time, knowledge that could have reshaped the intellectual and spiritual landscape of medieval Europe. In fact, the Templars' fascination with knowledge and their role as intellectuals may have been one of the reasons for their downfall. It is suggested by some historians that the Catholic Church, in its pursuit of power and control, became wary of the Templars' growing intellectual influence. The Church may have viewed the Templars as a threat not only because of their wealth and military power but also because of their deepening connection to esoteric knowledge. This fear of intellectual subversion could explain why the Templars were accused of heresy, as their search for hidden wisdom may have led them to explore ideas and philosophies that were considered dangerous or heretical by the Church. If the Templars were, in fact, in possession of ancient knowledge that contradicted the Church's teachings, it would have been in the Church's interest to eliminate the order and suppress that knowledge. But what exactly was this knowledge? What kind of wisdom did the Templars uncover that could have posed such a threat to the established order? Some theories suggest that the Templars were in possession of ancient manuscripts that contained secrets about the nature of the universe, the origins of humanity, or the hidden truths of the Bible. Others speculate that the Templars had access to knowledge about alchemy, astrology, or the occult, practices that were seen as dangerous by the Church. Could the Templars have been involved in the study of these ancient disciplines, seeking to unlock the secrets of creation itself? The idea that the Templars were not just warriors but intellectuals and scholars, deeply immersed in the pursuit of hidden knowledge, raises profound questions about the true nature of their legacy. As we examine the symbols and the hidden knowledge that the Templars may have preserved, we are faced with the possibility that their story is not one of simple military conquest or religious devotion, but one of intellectual pursuit, of a secret society dedicated to preserving and transmitting ancient wisdom. This knowledge, hidden in symbols, manuscripts, and sacred spaces, may hold the key to understanding not only the Templars' true purpose, but also the hidden history of humanity itself. The Templars, with their elaborate rituals, Their deep connection to the mysteries of the ancient world, and their focus on knowledge and symbolism, may have been far more than just a medieval order. They may have been the keepers of a tradition of wisdom that stretches back thousands of years, a tradition that continues to influence the world to this day. The Templars' symbols, their secret knowledge, and their intellectual pursuits are a testament to the enduring power of hidden wisdom. These secrets, whether encoded in architecture, manuscripts, or cryptic messages, continue to captivate the imagination of those who seek to uncover the mysteries of the past. The Templars may have left behind more than just a legacy of war and wealth. They may have left behind a roadmap to understanding the deeper truths of existence, a guide to unlocking the hidden knowledge that lies just beyond our grasp. And in this pursuit of knowledge, the Templars have ensured that their story will never be forgotten. Their legacy, hidden in plain sight, continues to inspire those who seek the truth and strive to uncover the mysteries that lie buried beneath the surface of history. The enduring fascination with the Templars is not merely about their military might, their sudden and brutal downfall, or the treasure they may have hidden away. It is rooted in something deeper, their relationship with power, secrecy, and the pursuit of knowledge. What if the Templars were not simply the soldiers of Christ that history remembers them as, but intellectual and spiritual pioneers, deeply connected to the arcane and the mystical? What if their real influence and legacy were hidden beneath layers of deception, political power struggles, and religious control? The Templars' story is one of contradictions, a tale of extraordinary courage mixed with deep secrecy, of immense power masked by religious devotion, and of an intellectual curiosity that pushed the boundaries of what was known in their time. As much as they were warriors and monks, they were also seekers, guardians of mysteries that might forever remain beyond our full understanding. The Templars' journey began in the early 12th century, when they were established to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land during the Crusades. But in the decades that followed, they grew in influence, wealth, and power, becoming an order whose reach extended far beyond their original mission. While they are often portrayed as noble knights defending the faith, it is clear that there was far more to their role than simply being warriors for Christ. During their time in the Holy Land, the Templars had access to a wealth of knowledge, some of which was far removed from the doctrines espoused by the Catholic Church. The Crusades, which initially began as religious wars, turned into a complex web of political and cultural exchanges, bringing the Templars into contact with scholars, mystics, and intellectuals from a variety of cultures and religious backgrounds. It was in the Holy Land that the Templars are said to have uncovered, or at least gained access to, knowledge that would forever change their understanding of the world. Some scholars believe that the Templars discovered ancient texts, philosophical treatises, or even religious relics that were previously unknown to the Christian world. This knowledge, they argue, could have been so profound that it threatened the very structure of medieval society. The idea that the Templars were involved in secret intellectual pursuits, studying forgotten texts and philosophies, presents them as more than just military figures. They were, in some sense, the intellectual heirs of ancient knowledge, preserving, interpreting, and possibly even expanding on ideas that had been lost to time. The connection between the Templars and the wider intellectual movement in Europe is often overlooked. While the order was most famous for its military role in the Crusades, there is evidence to suggest that the Templars were also involved in the preservation and transmission of knowledge that could have had a profound impact on Western thought. The Templars' links to ancient Greek, Roman, and even Egyptian knowledge are often suggested, with many historians pointing to the philosophical traditions of these cultures as a major influence on the Templars' thinking. Some theorists claim that the Templars studied and protected this ancient wisdom, particularly when it came to mathematics, geometry, and astronomy. The very design of their temples and the symbols they employed suggest that the Templars were not simply warriors, but intellectuals who understood the significance of these ancient sciences. For example, one of the most well-known features of Templar symbolism is the use of geometric shapes, including the pentagram, the triangle, and the circle. These shapes, which appear frequently in Templar iconography, were not just decorative but held deep philosophical meaning. Many of these shapes, particularly the pentagram, have ancient associations with divine harmony and the natural world. The pentagram, for instance, was used in ancient cultures as a symbol of the human form, as well as the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. It was believed that these elements were in constant balance, and that true knowledge came from understanding the relationships between them. For the Templars, the use of these symbols may have been a way of encoding their esoteric knowledge, passing it down through generations of initiates. The Templars' intellectual pursuits were not confined to geometry and symbolism. However, it is believed by some that they were also interested in the more mystical aspects of knowledge, including alchemy, astrology, and the occult. These esoteric disciplines, which were often seen as heretical by the Catholic Church, were integral to the intellectual life of the Templars. Some theorists suggest that the Templars were actively involved in the study of alchemy, a practice that sought to transform base metals into gold and, more importantly, to discover the secret of immortality. The idea of alchemy as a spiritual pursuit, aimed at the transformation of the self and the attainment of hidden knowledge, would have been particularly appealing to the Templars, who saw themselves as protectors of divine wisdom. Astrology, too, may have played a significant role in the Templars' intellectual pursuits. Many of the great philosophers and intellectuals of the medieval period were also astrologers, and it is believed that the Templars may have used astrology as a tool to understand the workings of the cosmos and the divine. The study of celestial bodies, the movement of planets, and the influence of the stars on human affairs were central to many medieval esoteric traditions. If the Templars had access to astrological knowledge that was not widely available, it could have given them a deeper understanding of the natural world and the forces that governed it. This blend of intellectual pursuits, geometry, alchemy, astrology, and mystical philosophy, set the Templars apart from other medieval religious orders. While many of their contemporaries focused on piety, prayer, and military conquest, the Templars seemed to have an insatiable curiosity about the world around them, a desire to unlock the secrets of the universe. This intellectual curiosity was not merely for personal gain. It was, according to some theorists, part of their larger mission to protect and preserve knowledge that had the potential to change the course of history. But the Templars' intellectual pursuits were not solely confined to the physical realm. Some believe that they also engaged in spiritual practices that sought to access hidden realms of existence, connecting them to a broader, more universal consciousness. These practices, which may have included meditation, prayer, and other forms of spiritual discipline, were designed to help the Templars unlock hidden truths about the divine, humanity, and the nature of reality. It is suggested that the Templars were not merely seeking material wealth or political power, but rather were searching for spiritual enlightenment, for a deeper understanding of the mysteries of life. This quest for hidden knowledge, be it spiritual, intellectual, or mystical, was one of the driving forces behind the Templars' rise to power. As they grew in influence and wealth, their intellectual pursuits expanded, moving beyond their original military mission and into the realms of philosophy, mysticism, and esotericism. Their ability to blend these diverse areas of study made them uniquely powerful, as they combined military might with intellectual prowess and spiritual depth. It is no wonder, then, that the Templars attracted the attention of both the church and secular rulers, who sought to harness their power, or, in the case of their downfall, to destroy them. The Templars' downfall in the early 14th century did not mark the end of their intellectual pursuits. Instead, it is suggested by some that the knowledge they had preserved, hidden from the eyes of the church and secular authorities, was passed down to secret societies and organizations that followed in their wake. The most prominent of these is the Freemasons, who have been linked to the Templars through their use of similar symbols, rituals, and philosophies. The connection between the Freemasons and the Templars has long been a subject of speculation, with many believing that the Freemasons inherited not only the Templars' intellectual traditions but also their hidden knowledge. The idea that the Templars survived in secret, passing their teachings to later generations of initiates, adds a further layer of mystery to their already enigmatic legacy. What is clear, however, is that the Templars were more than just a religious military order. They were intellectual pioneers, mystics, and seekers of hidden truths. Their legacy is not just one of wealth, military might, or religious devotion. It is a legacy of knowledge, of intellectual curiosity, and spiritual exploration. The Templars, far from being mere soldiers of Christ, were deeply engaged in the pursuit of knowledge that transcended the boundaries of their time. They were not just defending a faith. They were searching for deeper truths, for wisdom that could change the world. Today, the Templars remain a symbol of hidden knowledge, of a quest for understanding that reaches beyond the confines of conventional history. Their story is not just a tale of military conquest or religious devotion. It is a story of intellectual curiosity, of spiritual exploration, and of the pursuit of deeper truths. The Templars' legacy is a reminder that knowledge is power, and that the search for wisdom is one of the most profound and enduring quests in human history. The final moments of the Templar Order are often described as tragic, with the Knights suffering a dramatic fall from grace, their wealth and influence stripped away in a brutal series of arrests, trials, and executions. But what happened in the aftermath of their disbandment is equally as captivating and mysterious, suggesting that the Templar story did not end with the public dissolution of their order. The idea that the Templars disappeared into the shadows of history, their knowledge, rituals, and symbols quietly slipping from the public eye, only to resurface in later centuries, is a theory that has fueled intrigue for generations. If the Templars truly vanished from the historical record, then their legacy would have had to survive in secrecy, passed down through hidden means. In this light, the question becomes not whether the Templars survived, but how they managed to do so without leaving a trail for history to follow. Their survival is a tale of hidden influence, of secret societies and encoded messages, of legacies that extended far beyond their public disbandment. One of the most enduring theories about the Templars' post-disbandment survival is that they went underground, finding refuge in distant lands, hidden in plain sight, or reappearing under different guises. After the destruction of their order in 1312, many of the surviving Templars are believed to have scattered across Europe. While the majority may have been absorbed into other religious or military orders, some are thought to have sought refuge in countries where they could continue their activities without drawing the attention of the Church or the monarchy. Scotland, with its relatively autonomous position within the British Isles and its historical connections to the Templars, is often cited as one such place of refuge. The country's strong Templar presence is supported by historical accounts of Templar members finding sanctuary there, particularly during the reign of King Robert the Bruce, who is said to have granted them protection during the Wars of Scottish Independence. It is also in Scotland that many believe the Templars planted the seeds for what would later become Freemasonry, a secret society whose rituals and symbols closely resemble those of the Templars. The notion that the Templars survived through the establishment of Freemasonry has captured the imagination of many historians and conspiracy theorists. The Freemasons, a society shrouded in secrecy, have long been suspected of preserving Templar teachings, incorporating Templar symbols into their rituals, and continuing the intellectual and spiritual pursuits of the order long after its fall. Many of the rituals and symbols used by the Freemasons, such as the compass and square, the all-seeing eye, and the use of specific geometric patterns, bear striking similarities to Templar iconography. For some, this connection is no coincidence. It is believed that after the Templars were driven underground, they reformed into a secret network of scholars, intellectuals, and initiates, dedicated to the preservation of the ancient knowledge they had once guarded. Over time, this network transformed into the Freemasons, an organization that, while publicly focused on charity and social fellowship, privately preserved much of the esoteric knowledge and rituals of the Templars. But Freemasonry is not the only group that is said to have inherited the Templars' legacy. Throughout history, numerous other secret societies have been linked to the Templars, some of which were believed to have played a role in preserving and transmitting their teachings. The Rosicrucians, for example, are another group often associated with the Templars. Emerging in the early 17th century, the Rosicrucians were a mystical and esoteric society whose teachings were rooted in ancient wisdom, including alchemy, astrology, and the study of hidden knowledge. Much like the Templars, the Rosicrucians were concerned with uncovering the mysteries of the universe, seeking to bring about a spiritual and intellectual awakening. The Rosicrucians were also known for their use of symbolism and cryptic language, much like the Templars before them. Many scholars believe that the Rosicrucians were the spiritual heirs to the Templars, continuing their work of preserving ancient knowledge and transmitting it to future generations. The connection between the Templars and secret societies like the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians raises an important question. Why did these groups go to such lengths to preserve Templar teachings in secret? The answer, some suggest, lies in the nature of the knowledge the Templars were believed to have possessed. The Templars were not merely warriors and monks. They were intellectuals, mystics, and seekers of hidden truths. Over the course of their existence, they had access to a wealth of knowledge, philosophical, spiritual, and scientific, that had the potential to change the course of history. This knowledge was not just valuable. It was dangerous. The Catholic Church, which had orchestrated the downfall of the Templar order, was deeply threatened by the intellectual and spiritual pursuits of the Templars. If the knowledge they had accumulated were to fall into the wrong hands, it could challenge the Church's authority and alter the course of history. For this reason, the Templars may have chosen to protect their secrets, passing them down through generations in hidden societies, away from the watchful eyes of the Church and secular rulers. This theory is reinforced by the belief that the Templars were in possession of sacred relics. Relics that had the power to fundamentally reshape the spiritual and intellectual landscape of Europe. The most famous of these relics is the Holy Grail, the cup used by Christ during the Last Supper, which many believe was hidden by the Templars before their downfall. The Grail, according to legend, was not just a physical object but a vessel of divine knowledge, and it was said to have the power to unlock the deepest mysteries of the universe. The Templars' connection to the Grail, and their role as its protectors, suggests that they were not merely concerned with physical wealth or power, but with preserving a deeper, more profound spiritual wisdom. The idea that the Templars were the guardians of such powerful knowledge is central to the theory that their legacy survived in secret societies, where it was protected and passed on. However, the story of the Templars' survival is not solely about secret societies and hidden relics. It is also about their intellectual and spiritual influence, which can be traced through the centuries in the form of texts, manuscripts, and philosophies. The Templars were not just warriors. They were scholars, philosophers, and alchemists, deeply immersed in the study of ancient knowledge and mystical traditions. Many of the books and manuscripts that the Templars are believed to have collected during their time in the Holy Land contained esoteric knowledge, wisdom that had been passed down from ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. Some theorists believe that these texts contain teachings on subjects as diverse as mathematics, geometry, astronomy, and alchemy, as well as spiritual and religious knowledge that was far beyond the conventional understanding of the time. The Templars may have been the intellectual heirs to this knowledge, tasked with preserving it for future generations. In the years following their downfall, it is believed that the Templars' knowledge was carefully hidden, encoded in symbols and cryptic messages, and passed down through a network of intellectuals and mystics. This knowledge would have been too dangerous for the powers that sought to suppress it, and so it had to be preserved in secret, passed from one generation to the next, through a series of clandestine organizations. Over time, this knowledge would find its way into the hands of thinkers, scientists, and philosophers who would continue to build upon it, albeit in ways that would not reveal its true origins. The Templars' intellectual legacy, it is argued, lives on today in the form of modern scientific discoveries, esoteric philosophies, and spiritual practices. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Templars' survival is the idea that they were not just trying to preserve their knowledge, but that they were also engaged in an ongoing quest for enlightenment. The Templars were deeply committed to understanding the mysteries of the universe and the nature of existence. Their intellectual pursuits were not merely academic. They were spiritual, seeking a deeper connection to the divine. The Templars' search for hidden knowledge may have been as much about self-discovery and spiritual growth as it was about safeguarding secrets. Their legacy, therefore, is not just one of material wealth or political power, but one of intellectual and spiritual exploration. As the centuries passed, the Templars' influence continued to be felt in ways both subtle and profound. Their intellectual legacy, transmitted through secret societies and encoded in texts and symbols, left an indelible mark on the world. From the Renaissance to the Enlightenment, from the rise of Freemasonry to the development of modern scientific thought, the Templars' quest for knowledge shaped the intellectual landscape of Europe and beyond. Their story is not just one of military conquest or religious devotion. It is a story of intellectual exploration, of the search for deeper truths, and of the preservation of knowledge that could change the course of history. The Templars' survival, whether through secret societies or intellectual movements, serves as a testament to the enduring power of knowledge. Their legacy, hidden for centuries, continues to intrigue and inspire those who seek to uncover the mysteries of the past. It is a legacy that reminds us that some truths are too powerful to be revealed all at once, and that the pursuit of knowledge, hidden or otherwise, remains one of the most enduring and transformative quests in human history. The secrecy that envelopes the Templars continues to intrigue historians, scholars, and conspiracy theorists alike, creating a dense web of mystery that stretches beyond their fall. What was the true purpose of the Templars, and why were they targeted so ruthlessly by the powers that be? Their wealth and influence were certainly a factor, but there was more to the Templar story than mere financial gain or military prowess. The Templars' pursuit of knowledge, their esoteric beliefs, and their connections to hidden wisdom have led many to believe that the true reason for their destruction lies in something far more profound, something that threatened the very fabric of medieval society. For centuries, the question has loomed large. What were the Templars really guarding, and why was their knowledge considered so dangerous? The Templars, throughout their history, were associated with an extraordinary amount of wealth and power. They were entrusted with vast estates and became the trusted bankers of kings and nobles across Europe. However, it is not their material wealth that sets them apart from other medieval orders, but rather the deep, arcane knowledge they are believed to have collected and protected. While much of their wealth was invested in land, property, and military pursuits, many scholars and mystics argue that the true treasure the Templars sought to protect was something far more elusive, a treasure of intellectual and spiritual significance. This treasure was not gold, silver, or jewels, but the knowledge of ancient civilizations and forgotten wisdom that had been passed down from one generation to the next. The Templars' access to the Holy Land during the Crusades brought them into contact with a wealth of knowledge, both religious and secular, that had been preserved by other cultures, such as the Egyptians, the Greeks, and the Persians. This knowledge, much of which had been lost to the West during the Dark Ages, was said to include profound teachings on mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, and alchemy, as well as ancient religious texts that offered alternative views on the nature of God, the universe, and humanity. The Templars, with their intellectual curiosity and commitment to preserving and studying knowledge, were in a unique position to safeguard these ancient secrets. The idea that the Templars possessed knowledge that was not just intellectual but spiritual in nature is central to the belief that their true purpose was far more than just defending Christendom. Some believe that the Templars were not only warriors of the Christian faith, but also initiates into ancient mystical traditions that predated Christianity itself. They were, according to these theories, guardians of a deeper, hidden wisdom that transcended religious dogma. This knowledge, if revealed to the public, could potentially undermine the authority of the Church and challenge the established religious and political order. One of the most enduring theories about the Templars' hidden knowledge is that they were the custodians of the Holy Grail. This legendary artifact, said to be the cup used by Christ at the Last Supper, has been the subject of fascination and speculation for centuries. The Templars' connection to the Grail is not just a myth. It is deeply woven into the fabric of their story. According to some accounts, the Templars were entrusted with the Grail after it was brought to Europe by Joseph of Arimathea, a man who, according to legend, was the first to receive Christ's body after the crucifixion. The Templars, having established a presence in the Holy Land during the Crusades, may have uncovered the Grail, or at least learned of its existence, and taken it into their care. The Holy Grail, in this context, is not merely a cup, but a symbol of hidden knowledge, spiritual enlightenment, and divine truth. Some believe that the Grail represented a secret understanding of the nature of reality, a wisdom that could reveal the true relationship between humanity and the divine. The idea of the Templars as guardians of the Grail is intertwined with the belief that they were involved in alchemical practices. Alchemy, the ancient practice of transforming base metals into gold and seeking the philosopher's stone, was not merely a pursuit of material wealth but a spiritual and intellectual quest. For many alchemists, the ultimate goal was not the creation of gold, but the attainment of spiritual enlightenment and the discovery of hidden knowledge. The Templars, who were exposed to alchemical teachings during their time in the Holy Land, are believed to have been deeply involved in these esoteric practices. They may have seen alchemy not just as a way to transform matter, but as a path to higher understanding, an understanding that could unlock the deepest mysteries of the universe. The Templars' connection to alchemy and the Holy Grail has led many to speculate about the nature of the knowledge they were protecting. Could it have been a knowledge that was so powerful, so transformative, that it had to be hidden from the masses? The Templars' willingness to go to great lengths to protect this knowledge, even at the cost of their own lives, suggests that they were guarding something of immense spiritual and intellectual value. The idea that the Templars were not just defenders of Christendom, but also protectors of a more ancient and hidden wisdom, adds a layer of complexity to their story. The question remains, what was the true nature of this knowledge, and why was it so dangerous? The Templars' destruction by King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V is often viewed as a tragic culmination of their story, but it can also be seen as a pivotal moment in the ongoing battle for control over knowledge and power. The Templars' fall was not just a political or religious event. It was an ideological one. The Church, which had long held sway over Europe's intellectual and spiritual life, may have seen the Templars as a threat to its authority. The Templars' connection to the Grail, their involvement in alchemy, and their possession of secret knowledge represented a challenge to the Church's control over spiritual matters. If the Templars had access to knowledge that the Church considered heretical or dangerous, then it would have been in the Church's interest to suppress that knowledge and eliminate those who held it. Yet, despite the official disbandment of the order and the execution of many of its members, the Templars' legacy did not disappear entirely. Over the centuries, their story continued to captivate the imagination of those who sought to uncover hidden truths. The Templars' symbols, their rituals, and their teachings found their way into secret societies and intellectual movements, including Freemasonry and the Rosicrucians. These organizations, while publicly focused on charity, social reform, and fellowship, were also concerned with the preservation of ancient wisdom. Many of the symbols and rituals used by these societies can be traced back to the Templars, suggesting that the knowledge they had protected did not vanish with the destruction of their order but was instead passed down in secret, encoded in symbols and teachings that only a select few could understand. The Templars' survival in secret societies and mystical movements is an intriguing possibility, but it is not the only way their legacy may have endured. The Templars were also known for their involvement in the construction of churches and cathedrals across Europe. These buildings, many of which are still standing today, are often seen as architectural marvels, filled with hidden symbols and esoteric knowledge. Some of these churches, such as the Temple Church in London and the Chapel of Rosslyn in Scotland, are believed to contain hidden messages that point to the Templars' true purpose and the knowledge they sought to protect. The use of sacred geometry, the placement of specific symbols, and the design of the buildings themselves may have been intended to encode knowledge that the Templars wished to pass down to future generations, keeping it hidden in plain sight. The Templars' connection to these sacred buildings raises further questions about their true role in history. Were they simply warriors and monks, or were they the intellectual and spiritual heirs to an ancient tradition of knowledge? Did they possess secrets that, if revealed, could have changed the course of history? The idea that the Templars were not only protectors of Christendom, but also guardians of ancient wisdom, has the potential to reshape our understanding of the medieval world and the forces that shaped it. The mystery of the Templars is not just a story of hidden treasures, secret societies, and lost relics. It is a story of knowledge that was so powerful, so transformative, that it had to be protected and kept from the eyes of the public. The Templars' quest for this knowledge, their protection of it, and their willingness to sacrifice everything for its preservation, suggests that they were not just a military order but a group of intellectuals, mystics, and seekers. The knowledge they guarded, whether it was the Holy Grail, alchemical secrets, or ancient spiritual wisdom, was not meant for the masses. It was a knowledge that could only be understood by those who were willing to dedicate themselves to the pursuit of truth, no matter the cost. The Templars' legacy, hidden in symbols, secret societies, and sacred buildings, continues to captivate those who seek to uncover the mysteries of the past. Their story is a reminder that some truths are too dangerous to be revealed, and that the pursuit of knowledge is a quest that transcends time, politics, and religion. What the Templars were guarding, and why it was so dangerous, remains a question that continues to resonate with us today. In the end, their legacy is not just one of military conquest or religious devotion. It is a legacy of intellectual and spiritual exploration, of the search for hidden truths, and of the preservation of knowledge that could change the course of history. The story of the Templars is a tale woven with intrigue, danger, and a constant search for truths hidden from the public eye. The very nature of their legacy has fueled countless theories, mysteries, and myths over the centuries. While most of us are familiar with the grand narratives of Templar knights battling on the front lines of the Crusades, there exists a deeper, more enigmatic aspect to their story. At the core of their mission was not only the defense of Christendom but also the pursuit of something far more profound. The Templars were not simply warriors, they were protectors of knowledge. This knowledge, far from being merely theological or religious, stretched into the realms of the esoteric, the philosophical, and the arcane. What, then, was this hidden knowledge they safeguarded so fiercely? And why, despite the violent and abrupt disbanding of their order, does the shadow of their legacy linger to this day, unbroken and unyielding? The Templars' role in history is often overshadowed by their military exploits and the dramatic collapse of their order. Yet, behind the grand battles and religious fervor of the Crusades, there was an undercurrent of intellectual curiosity and an obsession with deeper, more cryptic truths. Their connection to the Holy Land, a place of both religious significance and historical depth, gave the Templars access to treasures that extended beyond the traditional riches sought by other crusaders. The idea that the Templars, during their time in Jerusalem and beyond, may have unearthed ancient secrets and knowledge is a concept that has fascinated scholars and lay people alike for centuries. But the most intriguing part of this mystery is the belief that they understood something that transcended the religious narratives of the time. It was in the years spent in the Holy Land during the Crusades that the Templars are said to have encountered a treasure trove of ancient wisdom. Some believe that they came into contact with lost knowledge, perhaps from the ancient civilizations that once flourished in the Middle East, or from even older sources buried beneath layers of history. For centuries, Europe had been steeped in religious dogma, with the Catholic Church as the central authority. Knowledge that deviated from the Church's doctrine was not only heretical but also dangerous. Yet the Templars, with their unique status as both monks and warriors, were given unparalleled access to sacred and secret places. Many theorize that in their time spent at the heart of the Crusader states, the Templars unearthed ancient texts, scrolls, and artifacts that contained knowledge that could threaten the very foundation of Christian doctrine. One of the most compelling pieces of this puzzle involves the legendary Holy Grail. The Templars are often linked to the Grail, that elusive and mythical vessel which is said to hold the blood of Christ. The Grail, however, is not merely a physical object. In the lore that surrounds it, the Grail represents divine wisdom, the key to immortality, and the very connection between the earthly and the divine. While some interpretations suggest the Grail was a literal chalice, others propose that it was a metaphor for something far more esoteric, a secret knowledge, the transmission of which could unlock the most profound truths of existence. According to various theories, the Templars may have discovered the Grail, or at least gained knowledge of its existence, and subsequently took on the responsibility of guarding it from forces that might exploit it. What is particularly fascinating about this theory is that it aligns with another mystery that has long been associated with the Templars: the concept of sacred geometry. The Templars were known for their use of symbols, sacred geometry, and architectural designs that seemed to incorporate hidden knowledge. Some scholars believe that the Templars understood the profound significance of geometry in relation to the cosmos and the divine. Many of the structures they built, such as the Temple Church in London, are believed to contain hidden geometric patterns that encode their esoteric knowledge. The use of geometric shapes, like the pentagram and the compass, was not just aesthetic. It was an attempt to embody the divine order in the physical world. This, according to some, was a direct result of the Templars' exposure to ancient wisdom while in the Holy Land, where they may have encountered similar principles embedded in the sacred texts and architectural wonders of the region. The Templars' connection to the sacred and the mystical did not stop with their architectural endeavors. There is a compelling argument to be made that the order's involvement with alchemy played a significant role in their esoteric pursuits. Alchemy, often misunderstood as a mere precursor to modern chemistry, was, in its highest form, a spiritual discipline. For many alchemists, the transformation of base metals into gold was symbolic of a deeper process, the purification of the soul and the attainment of spiritual enlightenment. The philosopher's stone, a central concept in alchemical thought, was said to hold the power to transcend the limitations of the material world and grant eternal life. Some believe that the Templars, with their deep intellectual curiosity and their access to ancient knowledge, were not just involved in the study of alchemy for material gain, but were, in fact, pursuing the transformation of the soul. In this sense, their alchemical endeavors were part of a larger quest for hidden knowledge and spiritual wisdom that transcended the material world. The intellectual pursuits of the Templars were not limited to the Holy Land alone. The order's expansion into Europe brought them into contact with a wide variety of intellectual and mystical traditions, many of which had been suppressed or marginalized by the Catholic Church. It was during this period that the Templars are believed to have encountered and studied the teachings of the ancient Greek philosophers, the Hermetic texts, and the mystical traditions of the East. These teachings, which were considered heretical by the Church, offered an alternative worldview, one that placed greater emphasis on personal spiritual experience and the search for hidden knowledge rather than blind adherence to dogma. It is believed by some that the Templars, through their extensive network of contacts and their secretive nature, were able to incorporate these ideas into their own beliefs and practices. The Templars' quest for knowledge was not just about intellectual curiosity or spiritual enlightenment. It was also about power. Knowledge in the medieval world was power. The Church and the monarchy understood this well, which is why they moved swiftly to dismantle the Templar order once it was perceived as a threat. The Templars, with their vast wealth, influence, and access to forbidden knowledge, represented a challenge to the established power structures. King Philip IV of France, who owed the Templars significant debts, saw an opportunity to eliminate a rival and seize their wealth. Pope Clement V, whose authority was largely dependent on the support of secular rulers, reluctantly complied with Philip's demands, allowing the king to orchestrate the arrests and eventual dissolution of the order.